All right, welcome back in, everybody, to the JJ and Pug Show. Here it is, March 24th, 2024. It was confusing for me trying to create the new file because I kept doing 2417, not 2424. I don't know why. I don't know why that was the case, but it was.
Well, you've been sick.
Yes.
That man cold's a real thing.
Dude, okay, anybody who questions man cold, I used to until this last one. This last one absolutely destroyed me. I have never been so absolutely fatigued, wasted, tired, oh man, I was so done. If you guys could have seen this when we were doing this last week and just watched my face, I had nothing in me.
Yeah, no, you definitely could tell you were definitely not you, but which is better now. You definitely feel like you're better. I'm sure that man cold's still hanging on a little bit.
Just a little bit. It's just like a man.
It doesn't ever let go. Exactly. It just keeps going. And and people, particularly women, who will say, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal." I'm telling you, it just. How often do you get sick?
Never.
That's what I'm saying. So when we get sick, it's a thing where look, I'm out days. I'm going to be in bed. I'm going to have the shivers. I'm going to be terrible. I actually don't remember. I think the last time I got actual sick was 2019 December. I had exhausted myself in some training and it was pre-Rona and that was it. And it was probably the Rona or whatever you want to call it at the time. But that was the last time. And that's how often it's been almost 5 years or 4 years now. And I don't get sick, but when I do, it's over. My
thing is I don't know if I get sick very often, but I definitely will get allergies. The difference with this one was allergies are okay, stuffy nose, right. Itchy eyes, itchy throat, it all hurts. Dude, this one I was done. I was so tired. And I think I was telling this to you, one of the things that I know if I'm really sick is if all I want to do is sleep. Yeah. Because I don't like sleeping. I don't like wasting my time sleeping. I would rather do something, even if it's as mindless and stupid on your time as it is playing Xbox. Right. I would rather do that than sleep. And the fact that I could not sleep was that was my telltale sign. This isn't allergies. Yeah, dude, I was done. So moral of the story is don't sleep in a cruise with the air all the way on with your feet out of the blankets. Yeah, that's a bad move. That's all this comes down to. That's something that I don't think I should have been asked to be told or a lesson I should have learned, but I learned that lesson. I learned that one. All right, so if you hear some exclamations from us out of the blue, it's because Alabama's on a 7-0 run right now, beating Grand Canyon up 4 with just under 5 minutes left. And you know what? We talked about this before recording, okay? I don't like college basketball. I've made that clear. Yep. I've said it a few times. Even I watch March Madness. You have to. It's such it's just hard not to. Right now we were talking. You see a number 12 GCU playing a number 4 Alabama. You're gonna watch that. If you're a sports fan, you've got to enjoy that moment. You're just come on. I don't want to call this a Cinderella team, but it is. But they're a Division I basketball team, and the rest of their school program, I don't believe, is Division I. I don't think they have a Division I. They have anything. Soccer stuff. Oh, they have a basketball. They have a baseball team. They have other things, but they're not Division I. No. So for them to go and they won their first game in school history in the tournament last couple days ago, and now that they're playing this right now to get into the Sweet 16, of course you want them to win because we're from Arizona. But at the same time, it's yesterday I was rooting for Oakland over NC State. I watched that game, and I was all the way up until a minute left. Talk about a crazy thing. Those two teams being there. Yeah. Those two teams. NC State's run was ridiculous. Yep. I mean, the fact that they won their ACC title tournament was a crazy run that they had. Made it to the tournament. Oh, did they count that? They better have counted it. They should have counted that. No, I don't think they did. I don't think they gave continuation gives him that, dude. That's terrible. In the NBA, that's a continuation. He gets 2 shots anyway, but still. Yeah, no, that should be a 3-point play. That's terrible. Anyway, dang, dude, that's a pretty big free throw disparity there. Oh, the Grand GCU's killing them. Yeah, dude, they have 33 free throws to 16 for Alabama. Yeah, but they've missed at least probably 10, I bet. 13. And this guy was fouled right here. It was Grant Foster. He was fouled with a 3-point play late in the first half, and he missed all 3 free throws. Oh, no. It's bro. And then after the first one, he's nobody. When he missed the second one, you could just see he was in his head. And now he sinks both of these. Think about it, dude. If he went those other 3 points. You can't be giving up free throws like that. But especially if a team's going to give you 35 attempts at it with the line, you've got to be able to cash in. That's one of the hardest things. And, dude, I don't know. Going back to college basketball, one of the things that reminds me when I'm watching the tournament is really just how messy some of the basketball is. Yeah. As we just watched a dude get anyway, pummeled. It's just so messy and sloppy. And I understand there's definitely a lot of passion in it. There's a lot of excitement. Everybody's out there working real hard, but it's just stuff like that. That was a foul.
Yeah.
That was a foul, but they didn't call
They
it.
got him again. Now they called it, and they're in the double bonus too. So now they're going to be able to with a chance to tie.
Yeah, with 4 minutes, dude. 4 minutes left, and they're already in the double bonus. Like, anyway, that's enough for me on this one. Like, I have made my point that I've made it many times when it comes to college basketball, but. Even though the whole time I was railing on that drive, I'm going to watch it.
Well, you have to. It's like I said, Oakland is
It's
a
that time of
great
year,
story.
dude.
That guy hit 10 3-pointers against Kentucky.
Yes.
He was like, he was driving an Uber off his off season to make money. Like he had 0 Division I offers outside of Oakland, and you see it, and you're like, okay, bro, like well done,
dude.
And then he goes off again.
Yes.
Like it's
he had
dude,
a good game yesterday.
yeah.
It was just one of those things where you know what? Sometimes the hourglass, the sand's gone.
Yeah,
and that was
like-
just what happened to Oakland.
Yeah, and nobody expected Oakland to even be in the round of 32, let alone
Exactly.
like in a tournament. So
Especially
it
when they
worked.
got matched up against Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that you see these tweets all the time. I see them often anytime that it comes to college sports. Is how people will always talk about, Okay. I hope everybody just heard that one. All right, we're going to have to... Don't laugh at me, she says.
Oh, what are you doing?
We had a little girl just break into the studio. So we're just going to go ahead and
Potty breaks
pause
are important.
1 minute. Sorry about that, everybody. One thing I forgot to mention was we are recording from the Highland Communities Podcast Studios. I'm a little out of practice here.
That's right. It's been a while. You've been sick, foggy mind.
Dude,
it's fine.
yeah. I'll tell you what, man. That's exactly what that was. At least I'll take that as my excuse. What were we talking about? We were talking about college basketball. The
Just
amazing run. Oh, this is what I was going to say. One of the tweets that I see, and it cracks me up. Again, tweets. All right? Not calling them X posts.
is that what they would be called?
Yeah,
Is
the
X-post?
stupidest rebranding ever. Anyway, one of the tweets that I see anytime that comes to college basketball is how I love that people will say, like, the best part about college sports is that all of us collectively as a nation are putting down billions of dollars on the outcome of a communications major. And it cracks me up because that's Gulke,
what you're doing.
That
Yeah.
guy from Oakland. It's like that guy right there just cost millions of dollars to all those people betting out there because he just got ridiculously hot.
He did.
And he's after this going to be working at some advertising firm. Who knows what he's going to be doing? Oh,
no.
don't you just love it when a rebound comes and smacks a guy in the head and bounces off of him? Oh yeah.
I don't. It's like I don't want to watch. Like I feel like they were doing better, but we weren't watching.
I know, dude. It's one of those things that's hard not to watch, though. You got to see how this is going to go down. Because let's say even if they do lose this game, what a heck of a run for Grand Canyon.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you can't be mad about it. I mean, you're a 12 seed, lucky to get into a 12 seed.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, but it's like when you think about it, like college basketball programs in Arizona, obviously number one's U of A, right?
Oh,
obviously, I mean that's one of the one of the top programs of the nation. But then you think about it, we've got 2 other major state universities that honestly kind of suck. ASU pretty much sucks when it comes to college basketball. Honestly, right now they suck at all college sports, but that's a different discussion. And then you've got NAU, whose one thing that they're really great at is cross country.
Oh, see, I wouldn't even have known that. That's.
I mean, think about it. They train at 7,000 feet. So,
I mean, I guess that would make them probably pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, that's it.
They come down here and they can just run circles around people.
Yeah. So, I mean, outside of that, like, good for Grand Canyon, man. Way to step it up and start repping.
Yeah, like they're doing a great job.
Yeah. And it's what's the guy's name? Not Larry Drew. What's his name? Bryce Drew? Is that the head coach?
No, I don't
Maybe
even
I'm talking
know.
about the guy from UConn. It's a Drew. I know his last name is Drew.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But anyway, he's doing a great job ever since he took over. I remember being so upset when Dan Marley got fired for no other reason other than it's Thunder Dan. Right? Like that guy reps Arizona so well.
100%.
Ever since he was a Phoenix Sun. Like he's just a Valley favorite.
Even though he played for the Heat.
Yeah, but that was us. We traded him there.
Yeah. I actually was when I was in 5th grade, I got to go down. I was like one of the students in this group. I went to Vernon Elementary. So I don't even know how I got selected for the 5th grader, dude, but they surprised me at a game that I got to go down on half court.
Dude, that's awesome.
Get a Steve Nash jersey, meet Antonio McDice.
Antonio
Oh,
McDice,
yeah, bro.
dude.
It was cool. He handed the jerseys, and while I took the elevator to go down to the floor, guess who walked in the elevator with me? They were playing the Heat. Dan Marley, number 33, standing
awesome,
right
dude.
next to me, or whatever, 32, whatever number he was. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Dan Marley. Like
Thunder Dan, baby.
It was cool.
Oh, Dan Marley, man. That guy was, again, one of those players that as a child, he just becomes like everyone's favorite. For some reason, the same with Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge was, I mean, when he was with the Suns, I think his biggest claim was that he was on the finals team. That's it.
Probably.
And then he became the coach, probably at the time that he went down there in 5th grade. He was probably the coach then.
He might have been. I don't know. Yeah, I don't
because he was
that.
a coach for a little while. But anyway, it's funny how Thunder Dan, he just sinks himself into your. Oh, dang it!
Alabama is sinking their D1 teeth in right now.
Oh man, I know that's not what you meant to say, but that is the way I took that.
I'm just saying, dude. Look, this is the recruiting. This is all this is, right? It's late in the game, and your players are making plays right now, and you've got GCU who they have players, but I mean, Alabama's a Division I school, like
13-3 run right now.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, and like you said, at some point, the Cinderella story does die when it comes to just strictly talent. Like, talent will eventually win out in the tournament. That's usually what happens. You don't get Cinderella runs all the way to the the Final Four or the Elite Eight. Like, when you get a team that makes it that far, at that point you're kind of like, do we want these guys to win? I mean, are we going to be stuck with another UConn Butler game from 2011 that completely soured me from college basketball? I don't know. With that being said, we really don't have a whole lot to talk about. I mean, when I was looking at the list, I was like, dang, dude. Did either one of us update a single thing?
I've had a busy week, man. I'll tell you that much, dude, just with work. I'm in a new job, so just learning my new job. And it's not hard. It's just understanding it's different. So trying to play that game right now. So no, like, dude, I think I put something on there. But what I want to every time I got in an elevator this week, I wanted to know what you meant by elevator etiquette.
Elevator etiquette. So I put that down because one of the things that drives me bonkers, and it's especially obvious on a cruise ship, because you're constantly going up and down the elevator on the different decks, right? Constantly.
Because you don't want to go up that many or down that many.
Exactly.
For sure.
So it's one of those things where it just is very obvious on an elevator, on a cruise ship, but it becomes even more obvious elsewhere. Anytime that the elevator dings, people that immediately rush the door to get in. Let the people off. Give it a second. Guess what? The doors aren't going to immediately close once they open. Give it a second. See if there's anybody that's going to come off first and then get on. And I'm specifically talking to you parents out there who don't train your kids this. Because, again, on the cruise ship, constantly up and down, in and out, every single time I would be getting off, I'd be getting plowed in the knees by some little kid. And the parents are right behind them. It's like, what is going on?
That's why you just don't stop, dude. You just keep walking. Chuck them, dude. Truck them with your knees, bro. And sometimes you just got to learn, bro. Like, the only way to learn, right? Life's hard. Wear a helmet, kid. Like, get out of the way.
Dude, I love your wear a helmet comments. But I mean, really, that's one of those things that drives me nuts. Like, dude, kids, parents, teach your kids this. Teach your kids little things. Oh, this reminds me when it comes to teaching your kids things. I saw, I'm not going to reference the study, only because I didn't read the full thing, but it did make me wonder. The headline in the first, 8 paragraphs was basically talking about how kids today, the Generation Alpha, are in some of the worst. That's what they're calling this.
I cannot even handle that they're called Generation Alpha because of what the word alpha really means.
I know.
I don't even like it. Can we not call it that?
I'm not the one. I'm not the sociologist that decided.
It should be Generation Wuss, bro.
I think it's just because we went from Gen Z,
right?
And now we're A. Yeah. Right, Gen A, because technically, I think the millennials are Generation Y.
They are. We are a Y generation.
Yeah, so now we're just back to A, but we can't call it Generation A. It's got to be a Greek letter.
There's got to be another word for A that we can use. How about Generation Asshole? Like, that's what these kids are becoming.
But that's the point. The point of this article, and again, I didn't read the whole thing, so I can't pretend to be a complete expert about it. But it's basically kids born from 2010 to the end of this year is what will be considered Generation Alpha, and how those kids are off to the worst start in many ways than previous generations. And there's a couple of things that, again, this article referenced, and I'm not – this is something off the cuff, y'all, by the way. Yeah. We didn't prepare for this conversation. It just came up.
This is new to me.
Right. By the way, Grand Canyon lost by 11. When it was a close game, down, lose 11. That's rough. But you know what? Good on you, Lopes. Good on you.
And Alabama's celebrating, like throwing their A up. It's like, dude, you beat a 12.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You were supposed to win. And your coach should be telling you to get inside.
Aren't you the only SEC team left in the tournament, too?
Yeah.
Whatever. Screw you guys.
Alabama.
Yeah. Back to what I was saying, though. This age, between 2010 and to the end of this year, they're basically saying is in the worst starting position for a couple of reasons. One, COVID, right? COVID shut down a lot of schools during that time. So a lot of the test scores for this generation is way behind previous generations. Okay. And that's a legitimate reason. It's not a good enough reason. But the other thing this article basically said is it's because of us millennial parents.
It's always the parents' fault. If you think about how every generation's gotten softer, it's because it's always the parents really.
And it's always the parents blaming their parents.
Yep.
That's one of the things I have the biggest I have the hardest time with that. Are your parents boomers?
They were born in the 60s, so yeah.
So yeah, the baby boomers. My parents are definitely baby boomers. I hate all of the discourse about how baby boomers are what's ruined whatever.
How? They're like they're like the foundation of this country. Like, they started everything. Like, they helped. I mean, after World War II, which arguably the traditionalists, right? I think they call them, is through the Great Depression and up to World War II. And
the greatest generation.
The greatest generation. Then you have the traditionalists, and you have these boomers. The boomers are everybody out right now. They're the ones still crawling under houses doing plumbing. They're the ones still doing electrical. It sure as heck ain't Generation Y. Maybe there's some of them. It sure as heck ain't going to be Generation A.
It might be Generation X. Gen X might be doing it.
Oh, yeah, Gen X is still doing them a lot, too.
Will you stop breaking into our studio? What are you doing? Man, this is getting as bad as the very first episode we ever did with that little girl, man. She keeps breaking in.
No, it's fine. I think people like to hear it because it tells we're not in a studio. We're in a room within your house, dude. Like, we've migrated from the kitchen table to another table in your gym office piano room. Like, you know what I mean? So
the catch-all room.
It's fine, yeah. So I think it's to be expected, you know, when we get bigger and we have a giant studio and millions of followers with padded walls.
Sound.
Then it'll be different. And we'll still let her come in.
That's still going to happen. It's going to happen. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. Okay, so Gen X is probably the one getting under the house, doing the plumbing interaction. Okay?
Yes.
But back to the millennial parents and Generation Alpha. And one of the problems that they have is that they are behind on test scores. They're illiterate, and they're not, they're very impolite. They're rude. And there's a whole bunch of little things that they talk about with the problem with Generation Alpha. Now, there's a couple things in there to note. The oldest of that generation is 14 years old.
Right.
Okay. So we still got a long ways to go. 14-year-olds aren't exactly known for being the classiest, nicest, no matter what generation. That's the age in which they're typically the a-holes.
For sure.
Right.
It's a tough age.
Right. So, I mean, I kind of look at it and say, maybe we're jumping the gun here, which is why I didn't finish the article. I kind of thought, come on, are we really already saying this?
Right.
Like, they said the same thing about, I still remember reading articles about how millennials were ruining the world back in like 2008.
You know, and I worked with a lady who she taught generation classes. Her name is Pat Fasiri. She's a phenomenal teacher. She worked with us where I work for a lot of years, right? And she taught a lot of people. And one of the things she always said was Generation Y would be the greatest generation. It was just going to take time. And maybe still time will tell, right? The reason why or who not. But yeah, we get blamed when Generation, because they were always like, the problem is we question Generation Y. They call it Generation Y, but the Y is because we questioned why everything. And when you work for people who are boomers and Xers and they're your direct supervisor, they ain't about that life, bro.
No, this is the answer. It's
because I said so. Now turn around. Between that and then what we also, us millennials, like to do is we don't like to take every step that they took to get there. If I can go from step 1 to 10 in one jump, why do I got to take why? Absolutely not. And that kills Xers and baby boomers because for them, that's just not how it works, right?
Yeah.
So,
and there's a lot of truth in that. But I still look at it and say every generation thinks either the one after them sucks or the one before them sucks.
Oh, yeah.
Although I will say this, I don't know anybody that thinks Generation X sucks.
Because, I was just going to say, except for I don't think, I would never say my mom and dad, or they're not my mom and dad, but Generation X right now, they don't, like, I want to be an X.
I mean, that's all my older siblings. And I look at it and say, like, you know what? I've never heard anybody talk crap on Generation X, aside from your guys' style in the 90s freaking sucked. That's on you guys.
Wait, it's coming back. What are you talking about?
Exactly. But what we're seeing today is because of you guys.
That's right.
All right? But everybody always likes to crap on boomers, which I think is the dumbest thing in the world. And maybe I know I am biased because my parents are boomers, and I think that they are some of the greatest people that have ever walked the planet. Obviously, the name, the greatest generation, speaks for itself.
Right.
Right? They went through, I mean, dude, I'm watching right now this thing on Netflix. It's Turning Point, something about basically the start of the Cold War and the atomic bomb. It is mind-blowing.
Oh, really?
It is so detailed and so good. And I love stuff like that. I love history basically from like 1935 to 1989. Okay, so the start of World War II, which is officially 1939. But, the mid-30s is when the Nazis started taking over Germany.
Oh, yeah.
All the way to the end of the Cold War, which is not 89, but that's when the wall fell. So I mean, it's like that era of geopolitical history is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting. So I'm watching this and the greatest generation, dude, the crap that they went through, Unbelievable. The Great Depression, World War II. I think the number is like something like 65 million people died in World War II. Think about that.
Yeah.
65 million people.
The Vietnam War. Another one. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, dude, more baby boomers dying in that one. Like, I mean, and it's not to say that we don't have wars in our generation. We definitely have had them.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, dude, 2001 is seared in all of our brains.
Oh, it'll never go. Yeah.
I'll never forget where I was and watching the two planes hit the towers. I'll never forget it.
No, you can't. I didn't even know what they were, dude. I'll tell you. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. I had no clue what the Twin Towers were. Nothing. I thought it was another Princess Diana thing where, like, we care about what's going on in another country again, right? Like, that's ignorance on my part, but I just had no idea. And then you're like, you watched the second one in geometry class, bro.
Yes, I was in history class. I remember when I woke up, or I was already awake, but I remember going downstairs, coming back upstairs to eat my breakfast, and the TV was on, which never happened in my house. The TV was never on in the morning. And I remember seeing the first tower had been hit. There's smoke, and there's fire coming out. And I remember thinking, that's weird. What happened? What kind of mistake was that? It never occurred to me that it could possibly be an attack. And I remember getting a phone call. My brother was telling my mom and dad to say, hey, first son was born. He was born that morning, September 11, 2001. Wow. And then I remember going to school, and Higley was a brand new school at this time. Most of the infrastructure was not complete. And so a kid brought a TV from home and hooked it up in our history class, and we all gathered around and just watched.
Yep.
And I remember when the second plane hit, it was like, what is going on? Wait, there's no way that the two accidents happened. That was the thing that went through my brain. That's when it finally clicked. This isn't a mistake. Like, this is an attack.
Yeah.
And
it was crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody who was alive for that's of any age of remembering, can say exactly where they were.
Yeah, you won't forget that.
It's that Alan Jackson song, dude. Where were you when the world stopped turning? Everybody knows. Everybody knows where they were at.
Yeah. So, bringing it back again, dude, one of the things I love about talking with you is how these conversations will branch. They will branch. But bringing it back all the way to Generation Alpha and the fact that every generation...
I can't handle the name, bro. It's driving me crazy.
Hey, maybe it'll change.
We need to just call them Beta. That's what they are. This generation's Beta. They're not Alpha.
Okay. I'm not going to do that because I'm just going to go with the name until we have a better name. Because, again, we were Generation Y. Now we're known as Millennials. The name will change.
It'll change.
But anyway, so back to that. Every generation thinks either the one after them or the one before them sucks, aside from Generation X. Probably because they're just forgotten. Like, people just kind of forget about Gen X all the time.
Dude, they do. They're the latchkey kids, bro. I know, they're the ones that parents left them at home alone because they didn't care.
Yeah.
He's outside under a rock.
Dude, they totally get screwed, man. But with that being said, like, I think a lot of what's going on with Generation Alpha, it's our fault. It's our millennial fault. And some of it is because of this. When we see on Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is you're using for your media consumption, how many times do you see something about how people are like, oh, yeah, the house is a freaking mess, whatever. It's just, I'm just tired.
It is. I'm tired.
Yeah, we're all tired.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the conversation we had referencing the Bill Simmons podcast, how he talks about, like, everybody suddenly now has anxiety.
Oh,
and that's not to discredit those that actually do.
Right.
Okay. I'm not taking away from those that actually do, but because everybody, and this is said with air quotes, everybody does, or at least they talk about how they have it.
Yeah.
They get misplaced or they get confused between the actual just stress of life and actual mental disorder. And everybody becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of their anxiety or their depression because they just think that's them. When in reality, it's like, dude, life's hard. Like you said, get a helmet. Like,
dude, seriously,
there's a lot of stress that we all deal with on a daily basis.
Everybody, right? Everybody. My mountain could be your molehill, but it's still my mountain, exactly. Right? It doesn't matter. And then everybody has it, but it's just they use these crutches, and I think a lot of it has to do with medication. If I have to be honest, like they want the medication for it. And doctors, dude, I'm sorry, but there's no such thing as like these doctors. I feel like there's few doctors now that are so into actually helping people, and they're more or less just ready to prescribe you something.
Yeah.
And that sounds terrible, but that's the reality. Like the opioid pandemic we have right now, when you talk about opioids and all the crap coming out, these people are addicted. Most heroin addicts start on a pill.
Oh, jeez.
Something whether they've gotten from somebody else because they were extra, or they had it for themselves because they got a back injury or something, and then they keep chasing the dragon, right? And they never get there, and then they start into heroin and they do all this stuff. So it's we've got to that point where now with anxiety, it's like, oh, I have anxiety, and they want to blame everything on anxiety. Man, I'm anxious every day. Like, yes. I could write a book about how nervous I get or upset or how uneasy I get about things throughout my day, but it doesn't mean I have anxiety. It's just life. And
yes.
Maybe it's a different way of looking at it, I guess, but I don't know. Like for me, like you said, I don't want to discredit people who actually have it.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
I just gave you that big, like, that big point. Like, I totally agree. That's one of the things for me is where I'm like, maybe that's just me. And maybe it is just me, but I don't think that's true.
No.
I think every single human being, we all struggle to some extent, but that is simply the human experience.
Yeah.
It's not meant, when I say meant to, whether you believe in meant to or not, it's not easy for anyone.
No.
Anyone. Like you said, my mountain could be your molehill and it could be vice versa.
Exactly.
The things that we go through is just different for each person.
Yep.
But every single part of our life isn't anxiety.
Well, and you got to think like if we go back to the dawn of let's not even like the dawn of time, just as we've evolved as people back in the day when you've had wars, everybody had problems. We didn't have medication just to shove down their throat, right? Yeah. We dealt with it. How we dealt with it, I think a lot of it has to do with our food consumption because the crap we put in our bodies here in America is out of control. Yeah. So that we have to factor that in because they didn't have that back in the day like they do now. But there's a lot of this where it's like, why are we so quick to just give somebody a pill? Like, I don't know if I believe so much in the homeopathic stuff where it's all natural, but there's something to be said about not being prescribed some medication from pharmaceutical company that's just in it to make money. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but is there really anybody like, I don't know, dude. Like, I hate the opioid stuff with that pharmaceutical crap. I could talk about for days. Well, it just makes me angry.
This is one of the things that I want to make sure that I mention is that mental health as a discipline, as a study, is still a relatively new thing.
For sure.
It's a very new thing in a lot of ways. So it's real. We know that mental health disorders, that's a real thing. Not discrediting that one bit. But we also know that because it's a new thing, you bring up the opioids. Opioids were a new way of dealing with pain, and we found out pretty quickly it was a horrible way of dealing with pain.
And yet they still push it down people's throats.
And yet they still are prescribed. Exactly. So we know that is the case. Let's also look at it from the perspective of, mental health. Like, we have so many different pills out there. Dude, and I know this isn't true outside of the United States, but if you ever watch any late night TV, how many disorders do you think you might possibly have and that this drug might fix it? It's just like, oh man, I have slight, discoloration in my eyes. I got a thyroid problem. My thyroid's gone. That's what it is. I got to get this pill. I got to go talk to my doctor. So it's stuff like that. And honestly, from the doctor's perspective, we know that we expect them to know, but how are they supposed to keep up with all of these new drugs constantly
flooding the market, right?
Yeah. Yes. And like I said, late night TV tells us we're all sick to some extent, and we've got to go talk to our doctor about Ozempic. And I just said that. I don't even know what that is.
Turn the TV off and turn a podcast on. Maybe you've heard of it, the JJ and Pug Show.
Yes. And you listen to us tell us that those are things you don't need to do. But it's just like we expect so much of our medical professionals to know every possible diagnosis out there, when in reality it's like, dude, there's still so much we don't know. And we have so many pharmaceutical companies out there, one, doing good work, but also doing work to cover their R&D. So there's a lot of stuff out there that we don't need.
When was the last time you went to the doctor?
I actually try and do an annual checkup. I missed this last year.
So do you have like an actual family doctor?
I have a doctor. I have a doctor's office. I actually don't know who the doctor is. Yeah. So,
because like when you have a good experience with the doctor, it's almost like, I don't know, like I feel like when you go in, I've had experiences both. I'm not a big yearly checkup guy. I go when I need to go. But like, so when you see a doctor and you feel like that, there's a term for it, but I can't remember that. Like, you're just in and out. Like, they just came, you check the boxes, like, okay, we'll give you this, see you next time. Like, whatever, they don't care. But then I actually had shingles, believe it or not, right?
Dude, real? It was already?
Listen, it was like my middle of my back on my right side. It was only the size of like a silver dollar, and they didn't spread, but it was definitely something that I need to go get checked out, right? Just to make sure. And the doc looks at it and goes, dude, it's definitely shingles. He goes, you're lucky because it's not everywhere. But I've had chickenpox before, and it happens, and stress, whatever, right? So, but the way the doctor was he was awesome. And I don't even remember his name. But it was
that awesome, huh?
But like he sat and talked to me for a few minutes, told me he wasn't going to give me this other stuff because it wouldn't be worth what I was going through based on what I had and all this kind of stuff, right? And I'm like, dude, because I was worried because I was going to this Arizona skin cancer place, right, where they just deal with so much crap, and it's like, people in and out constantly. The waiting room had people in it both when I left. They weren't like they were slow. And I was worried I was just going to come in. And this dude, no, he took his time, sat, talked to me for a minute, showed me. He goes, dude, what else are you doing? Okay, we're going to give you this. And he gave me some other stuff. And I was like, well, hey, while I got you here, what about this? And he was like, dude, he took the time. And it's weird that we're actually talking about that being rare.
Yes.
Because
rare.
I feel like when you go to a doctor's office, when you finally get to see the doctor.
Oh, dude.
He or she is in and out in 5 seconds just to say, yep, okay, yep, everything looks all right. Or you need to do this, see you later, you know? And I'm like, I feel like it should be a little bit more personal. And that's why I don't have a family doctor, is for me, right, my own doctors, because I'm like, dude, I'll just go when I feel sick. Like, I don't need to see the same guy.
My reason why I do the annual checkup is, one, I have a family history of cancer.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be something that catches me by surprise, right? And it's one of those things where I'm still pretty young, but it hit my aunt, my dad's youngest sister. It hit her very young.
What kind of cancer?
Brain cancer.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, dude. And for her, like, she actually beat the first diagnosis.
Good for
miraculously.
her. Really?
But once you have cancer once, guess what?
You're more susceptible to it.
You're going to have it again, and you need to constantly go and check up. Anyway, it eventually did get her, and it got her in her 60s. But I want to say the first time it got her was in her 30s.
Oh, really?
And so it's one of those things where I'm like, I can't mess around with that. I'm going to make sure that I'm giving myself and my family every chance at fighting wherever it is. So that's why I do it. I want to know what's going on to make sure that I'm healthy. But the other reason why I want to do it is because of exactly what you just talked about. I want to get to the point where I know my doctor.
Yeah.
And my doctor knows me. Like I said, I have a doctor's office. I've met 2 different, I'll call them medical practitioners. I'm not positive if either one of them's a doctor, but both of them, when I walk in, know who I am. And so for that perspective, like, I do like that because, dude, when you don't know your doctor, or if you have to get a new doctor's office, it's like one of the worst experiences. You just sit there in a waiting room forever. And then when they bring you from the front waiting room and put you in the back waiting room, you wait there.
I fall asleep half the time, bro. I lay on that dang bed and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be here. There's a pillow. Like, screw it,
good
dude.
for you, man.
I'm just like, I'm going to lay down.
Dude, good for
Because you know it's going to be 20, 25 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when they get there, they're not even going to know who you are. Nope. They're not going to know a thing about you. They'll have had your chart and I don't know what they've been doing. Maybe they've been reading it. Dude, I've had so many experiences when you go into a doctor's office for a specific thing, a specialist or whatever, and they sit down and say, okay, so what about this? And I'm like, didn't you get all the information? I mean, I know I had to provide
You made me
that.
handwrite all this crap down and put an X on all the places that hurt, and you're going to ask me what hurts?
Yes. Or you're going to ask me like, okay, well, have you done this test? And I'm like, I had to do that before I came.
Yeah.
Like that was the reason
kind of your
why
prerequisite.
Yeah.
Like, weird.
Dude, oh my gosh. I'll maybe another day me and Schley will sit down and have that conversation. It's so infuriating when you're dealing with something like a medical situation in which it's already sensitive, it's already difficult, and then you deal with a guy that clearly did not take any time to read anything about you or be prepared in any way, shape, or it's just freaking hate
Well, it's like some doctors forget it's a customer service field. And I get it.
Yeah.
A lot of doctors, especially like from what I understand, surgeons, they get these God complexes, right? Because they saving lives and blah, 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 blah. but they forget it's a customer service oriented business, right? Like, yes, it may be your 100th patient today, but you're the first doctor they've seen.
Yeah.
And that's what I think maybe just over time you lose sight of that, right? And same can be said for when you're dealing with the fire department, police officers, and all that stuff, right? Those kind of people, they need to make sure that you're in a customer service base, dude. So you need to make sure that your interaction with this person, it doesn't matter how bad if a doctor had a really bad experience with the last guy or girl, they can't bring that in and assume that's how it's going to be. And I'm sure that's easier said than done, but I think they just kind of forget that.
Yeah, no, and that's very true. And also it's easy for me to sit here and rail against them when I'm not a doctor.
Right.
And I also want to make it very clear. We may not have the perfect situation here in the United States of America when it comes to our health care system. Right. And that's a topic that I'll rail on most likely another day. But I do want to make it clear that I am forever grateful that this is the crap that I have to deal with.
Oh, for sure.
Versus what I've heard other places have to deal with.
Yeah.
So you know what?
We're very fortunate.
Yeah. I am here complaining, well aware that what we get here is worlds beyond
way
what the country
better.
Have to deal with.
That just doesn't but Big Pharma has their fingers in everything.
Everything.
That's the reality.
Yes. And that's actually that in itself, when you say Big Pharma, I mean, we're talking about big business. I am not anti-capitalist in any way, shape, or form. I want you to be, if you have a good idea, I want you to be able to make your money from that idea. That's a fantastic thing. One of the things I love again, having just watched a whole lot about the Cold War right now, I'm looking at it and saying, yeah, dude, that's why the Soviet Union failed, right? We believe in the ability to make money off of your good idea. But one of the things that drives me nuts, and not to dive us into a conversation we always swore we would never get into, which is political, how much power money has in every aspect of this country.
Oh, 100%.
In every aspect. We talked about big pharma. I mean, you want to talk about any kind of election, there could be the perfect person out there that totally fits every single one of your ideals. You'll never hear about that person because they don't get the money to be able to fund their campaign. Which makes it difficult because it's hard to find the guy that really, or woman, that really represents your ideals. Because unless they're a part of that big party system with all the money, good luck being able to get your name found out. I mean, for example, okay, and this is not a representative of my personal political beliefs, okay, and that's not something I want to go down on this road. We've talked about that. But a good example is one guy who is very well known, but actually, you know what? I don't want to go down that road. I'm about to go down that road. I got to stop myself right now. I can't do it. All I'm going to say is money controls so much of what's going on in this country, and to some extent that's good, but also in a lot of ways that really sucks.
Well, in a political system, it's bad because you don't get what the people really want, and I don't care what side you're really on. I mean, it's out of control on both sides, so it's very okay to say that. Look, it's if we can all agree that. I mean, for instance, I did read just recently that AOC. I don't even know I don't even know her name. I just know her as AOC. She makes $150,000 a year. She's worth $20-something million. How that's possible is beyond me.
When she was a bartender,
she was a bartender, she got elected. Now that I'm sure for those of you that may be on the left side of this thing, there are Republicans that do the same thing.
100%.
So I'm not knocking that. The idea is the whole thing is just that. How is that even possible? Yeah. It's because of lobbyists and what they're doing, and instead it's money. It's all money driven. That just proves the point more than anything. Is how does somebody who's a bartender making $150,000 a year now worth some $20-something million? It's just not. It's just a problem on both sides. So yes, money
it's 100% on both sides. In fact, there's this awesome app called what's called Autopilot, and all it is it copies trades made by anybody in politics, Republican or Democrat.
I'm about to grab my phone.
Yeah, to your trades. So it will say anything that Nancy Pelosi's doing, anything that Dan Crenshaw, the one-eyed guy from Texas, any trades that they're making, it will make those same trades for you. And let me tell you what, dude, people doing it, making a lot of money.
You got to have a lot to make
you do.
But at the same time, though, but it's smart because, again, both people, right? You're talking about Texas and you're talking about California, so you're on both sides of the aisle.
Oh, yeah.
They're both doing it, and they're making money, and it's super shady, and it's like, why are we allowing this as a country? At what point do we stop? And I think we're almost there. I think we're on the verge of something crazy to happen, and I really hope it doesn't, but that's it for now.
This app has got a social media account that I follow. And it's funny because it'll tell you, okay, this trade just happened. This is what this person did, and it details everything that they've done. And then if you swipe over, it'll say, and we want this to be banned. Make it very clear. We think this is terrible that people in these positions are able to make these trades. But until that is banned, we're going to continue to do this because we're just highlighting here that this is the system that we have that we're okay with.
Well, and that's the thing, right? It's the system that's the problem. You can't knock the people for playing the system. And that's where, like, the whole thing with everybody being mad about a certain presidential candidate not with taxes and crap, right? Okay, right, wrong, or indifferent, it's a tax code. Fix the tax code.
Yes.
And that particular person says it. Fix the tax code, and I'll stop doing it. But until then, I'm like, shoot, I want to know the loopholes as a normal citizen. Like, tell me what I can do to not owe the IRS money. Mm-hmm. Like, how do I get out of it, right?
Well, that's one of the things that's hard, though. You don't have the money.
No.
You don't make enough money to be able to not pay taxes.
Exactly. So you get
Isn't that
screwed.
Crazy?
It's so stupid.
Isn't that so crazy?
Man. I'll tell you, as I've gotten older, the more I agree with a flat tax is crazy.
Dude.
Like,
two hands
up
right here.
And that's not political. That's just like, I don't even care. Like, because here's the thing. The government's going to take what they're going to take, right? It doesn't matter. Just take it. I don't want to have to pay you, and I sure as don't want to have to get money from you because I don't need an IOU from you. So I'm good. You need 20%, whatever, fine, take it. You're going to get it anyway because if I only claim 8%, you're going to ask the other 12 anyway at the end of the year. So just take it, and it doesn't matter.
See, dude, this goes back to when we were talking about tipping and crap like that. Just wanting to know what I owe.
Exactly.
I cannot stand this concept. You know what I owe. Why do I have to go through all of the hoops and crap to figure out what I got to pay you? Just tell me. Give me the bill. This is what I owe you.
Thank you. And the taxes, tipping, tattooing, anything, haircuts, everything, dude.
I'm done with this.
Just tell me what it is because you're going to get it anyway.
Yes.
So, especially with taxes, dude. It makes me, I claim what you're supposed to claim. I claim the way it's supposed to be. And you're like, hey, you owe money. Well, because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I wasn't trying to screw the system.
Yes.
No, it doesn't matter. Then when your tax guy looks at you and goes, well, you know what? Just don't claim your kids next year. What?
They're my kids.
I'm supposed to be able to claim this, dude. Like, I would have never thought this as a younger kid, but as I've gotten older,
and you've had to do taxes,
and had to do taxes over and over, I'm like, okay, just take your 20%, 23%, whatever the number is, just take it,
dude. Again, going back to the flat tax thing, just make it so everybody, all of us, we all pay the same rate.
Boom.
You don't get to complain.
Nope,
because everybody's paying the same rate.
Yeah.
Everybody pays the same rate. You don't get to complain. And guess what? If you sell stock, you got to pay on that stock. You don't get to find some way to hide it somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, you just got to pay it.
That's
all right?
what I'm saying, dude. It's crazy.
Dude, taxes.
I hate taxes.
This is the worst thing.
I have my tax appointment on Friday, and I do not want to go because I just know that I'm like, okay, they're gonna stiff me anyway. You're the middle class America getting hammered anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm still paying for that. What was that check called? The stimulus money.
Oh, the stimulus.
You're sticking that to me now at the end, the back end.
I remember when they were doing that, and I'm like, why didn't you ask me? I don't want to have to pay for this later.
I would have said no.
I would have said no.
I don't need it. I'm good. Like, I'm one of the fortunate ones. I don't need it. I'm
Exactly.
good. I don't want to have to owe you later. Because nothing in this world is free.
No.
Nothing. And if they tell you it's free, they're going to stab you in the back somewhere along the way. And here we are.
100%.
Because most people last year that I know never owed before, break even, maybe get a little bit of a refund. Everybody owing money. And I'm like, well, gee, what did we do for 2 years? We packed in stimulus money up to like 10 grand worth of crap. To what? Dude, to now pay it back? And you think the government wasn't going to come for their money?
Dude, and this is the thing that kills me when it comes to, just inflation overall and how some, some numbers out there say that, well, it's really not that bad. I'm like, then you have no idea what it's like to be a normal person.
No.
If you're telling me that it's not that bad, great. This is just one small thing. In 2020, I bought my wife's car. Okay. And I remember then wanting to vomit with how much money it cost. Okay. And I want to say what the exact number is, but it was a lot of money. It was especially a lot of money for me. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to have a new car. It'll be the brand new car. We're going to have this thing. It'll be there forever. Okay. And we still have it. It's still very nice. I'm happy with it. Just the other day, took it in for an oil change. I thought, I wonder what a new replacement of this car would cost.
No.
It was more than double.
That's insane.
More than double in 4 years. For just a replacement level of this car. Replacement level of this car, brand new, more than double. That right there. And that's a car. Okay. Now, that's a luxury item. Okay. We don't need that. That's fine. That's not something that should be a great barometer, but I think it is. When you're talking about anybody that's got to get a new car, I mean, dude, the cost of a new car is unbelievable now.
I was just at Walmart today talking to my wife about this in the aisle when she's buying aluminum foil for $9.
Yes. Okay. Dude, I was just about to go there with parchment paper. I just bought parchment paper, and I'm like, how is this $6?
I'm like, and you know what? And like, I'm fortunate. I got a pretty good job. My wife works. So like, if you were to tell me like where the economy is right now, like when I first got married 18, 19 years ago, and you're struggling to get by and you're barely making any money and you're like, oh man, don't worry. If you were to tell me like things would be like this later, you're like, how is it that $9 for aluminum foil?
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm like, what? It's the same foil. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
Yes.
Dude. Paper plates, dude, they used to be nothing. Now you're paying like $9 to throw them away.
And I'm not buying Dixie brand.
No.
This is great value I'm going for.
Yeah, exactly. And all you're doing is throwing money in the trash every time you use one. You're just literally just burning it.
Yeah.
It makes me sick.
It's stuff like that where it's like, dude, if you ever seen Arrested Development, by the way?
It was an older show, right?
Oh, yeah. This was probably 2003, I think was the first season. Yeah. One of the funniest TV shows I've ever seen in my life. Jason Bateman was in it. Will Arnett's in it.
I think I know. I'm going to Google it while you're talking about it. Because I know I've seen it. And I think I saw it later. I didn't saw it live, but I think we watched it.
One I watched later on too. Yeah. But dude, it's seriously one of the funniest shows. But one of my favorite lines from it, just to explain to people how out of touch some people can be, it's about this family that was very rich. Turns out their dad has been doing some shady business. And so the whole show is about how the son, the oldest son, Jason Bateman, is trying to keep the family and the company together and afloat. But the whole rest of his family's totally out of touch with anything. They have no idea what the real world's like. And so they have this chocolate banana or frozen banana stand that's chocolate dipped, okay? And so the mom, Lucille, who's one of the greatest actors of her role I've ever seen in a TV show, dude. You got to rewatch it just to watch Lucille Bluth. Hilarious. So anyway, she's talking about how Michael is the son who is trying to keep everybody together. She's telling Michael, why can't you let your brother just have a banana, right? And his son's like, Mom, you have no idea what difficult spot we're in. We have no money. Like, detailing all the reasons. And then she comes back and says, well, how much could a banana cost? $10? Right? And it's one of those things you mean, like a $10 banana? Who buys it? But that's just, again, how completely out of touch she was with the real world. She had no idea what crap is. And that's exactly how I feel anytime an economist comes and tells me, inflation's not all that bad. Then come down to my level.
It's because you make too much money.
Yes.
Like if you make so much money, you think inflation's not bad. You don't even think about looking at a price tag when you swipe something.
Exactly.
And that's your opinion's
You're not
irrelevant.
counting the dollars whenever you put things in your
they don't even
grocery
care. They have
cart.
so much money, they're like, they just swipe it and don't care.
Yeah, or they have somebody else doing it for them. They have no idea.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
My thing is, like, I got to the point now where, like, dude, just the other day I went to Walmart, and I'm walking out of there with nothing, like half of my list, and I was $200 in.
Dude.
And I'm just like, dude, we're not going to eat. Like, we're just not going to eat, man.
It's crazy.
It is. It's so hard.
Oh, dude, and just wait till your kids start eating real food, like actual, like
dude,
adult food.
know,
You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, it's like we buy 5 days worth of food, right? We do meal plan dinners, and you buy the little $226 today, and we made a list. If you go there without a list, you're out the door for close to $300.
Yes.
For 5 days worth of food. 5 days of food. It is crazy.
And it's not like you have 8 kids.
No, I've got 3.
Yes. You got 3 kids. No, 2 are teenagers. Like you said, they're eating like adults.
But they're
now.
also girls, so they pick
they're
food,
also
right?
girls.
They're not boys. I could have it way worse, right? Because teenage boys, I remember eat. I don't know how if we didn't raise our own pigs and chickens, I don't know how we would have survived, dude. Between my brother and I putting food down. But no, but like, I don't know how people do it. Like, you see these carts of oh, dude, we could talk about government. Dude, I'm so... I almost want to... Dude, I told my wife, this is a joke, right? This is how messed up our government system is. If you were to get divorced on paper and just make your wife be a person who lives with you still, right?
Yeah.
So spiritually, you can still be wed by whatever bounds you're into, but legally, you're divorced, bro. Your wife would get so much money from the government. It's crazy. And then you're just living on the same life, dude. I know people that have legitimately lost their job and had to restart, 4 kids. You know how much money they got in food stamps a month? $1,200.
Oh my gosh, dude. There's no chance.
The only thing you can't buy is alcohol and like pre-made stuff, like the chickens. Lobster, sure. Steak, sure. Shrimp, sure. Like you're like $1,200.
$1,200, dude. That's insane.
Oh my gosh. And I am not. This was years ago. This was probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. I can't imagine what it is now.
Dude, 6, 7, 8 years ago, that was your housing budget.
Yeah,
that's a housing budget. And now that's like what you rent for one room.
Oh, it's out of control.
Yeah, we could go down this road forever.
I love this road because it just makes... I feel like there's a lot of people that are frustrated with this kind of stuff, you know, and it's almost taboo to talk about. Like, 'cause a lot of people don't want to say too much because they're always worried about somebody being upset about it, right? And the reality is, I think it's everybody's in the same situation. I don't care if you're right, left, middle, independent, whatever you are. We're all struggling with the basic crap, and we're looking at aluminum foil for $9.
Yes. Because all that crap adds up. Man, gas now is $4 a gallon again.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah, $3.89, $3.90, depending on where you're at. Yeah, absolutely.
It's that stuff. It just adds up, man. The cumulative effect. Like, we already know that the real estate market is at an all-time high.
Oh.
We already know that. That's not something that's new to everybody. But when you really think about what that actually means, dude, the house right across the street from here, okay, it's 2,300 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. So, I mean, that's a good size home.
Nice home.
With a pool. Guess how much it's listed for?
Oh, $700-800
million.
What? In Santan Valley?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, $1 million, dude. You should look at what things cost out behind me. Like, it's
insane,
mind-boggling.
And it's not only the $1 million; it's the interest rate of 7%.
Yes.
I'm like, how?
One, this person's got to have a hefty chunk of money to put down, and then you think about it: how much money they got to spend per month? Because okay, again, we're talking about a 6 and 7% mortgage. Okay. I don't want to go down the numbers in the math.
We're talking about a high more interest rate.
We're talking about a very one. But we're also saying, dude, this Copper Basin, okay? I don't want to denigrate anybody listening to us in Copper Basin, but you know the place. Okay, that is an affordable. That's the nice way. It's an affordable place. I just saw a sign there. D.R. Horton build new houses starting in the mid 300s.
Insane.
Mid 300s for a brand new. And D.R. Horton builds nice homes. They build starter homes. These are starter homes in Copper Basin. That is. Who can do that?
And that is like, you're talking, that is out there too. That's still like, what is it even 2 lanes on each side yet?
Not yet.
See what I mean? So like,
no, it is to that point.
To that point, it stops past
north.
that.
North. You go south,
North,
it dies.
Yeah.
So southeast, it's back down to 2 lanes, 1 lane each direction.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where it's like, dude, I mean, I know how much money I make. It's not much, but we're able to live our life.
Right.
We're able to live our life. I can't imagine trying to start now.
No.
There's no chance that you're able to do this with your mom, with your wife to stay home and take care of the kids. No. And now I know that's a very traditional view. Some people don't espouse it, but whatever. You have to be a 2 household income now.
Right. You
so
have to.
Now you have to think about it. If your kids are in school, you got to pay for daycare. Daycare is crazy expensive.
It's like minimum $10 an hour.
Minimum.
Per kid.
Dude, I don't know if you're going to find that
Per
anywhere.
kid. But that's,
and then you think about it, you got to be careful. These are the people taking care of your kids.
Yeah.
These are their second parents, and you got to be able to trust. So you're not paying that little,
right?
Because maybe you are, because that's literally all you can afford. But at some point, you get to the point where it's like, okay, am I paying just to pay for somebody to watch my kids, or is it making more sense to try and just cut back and have one of us stay home to watch the kids?
Figure it out.
But then you get back to the point. $350,000 is the starting price for a home.
At a 3% interest rate, that's doable.
You can, but even still, that's a lot of money.
Okay, it's $1,600-$1,700 at that rate, right? At 6%,
double it.
You're talking $2,600 for like, these people that are making. Like, it's just, you're trying to start a family. They're trying to make a family, start from the ground up, and you're like, oh, hey.
How are you going to do that?
I have kids. Allie will be 18 she'll be 17 next month or in May.
Dude.
So she's not much longer. She's graduates high school next year, and you're like, you wonder why there's that study came out that like 50% of these kids are still living at home. And I can't blame her. Like, and she's got ambition, right? She wants to be a nurse practitioner. She's going to get her nursing degree. And so I think it will take time. She'll get out on her own.
But she's going to live with you for a while.
She's going to have to live with me. And I can't be mad about it because where am I supposed now? I mean, the Y generation in me is like, no, you grab 5 girls, you go rent a 3-bedroom place, and your $1,900 payment a month is now $400 a month or whatever, right? So you make it work.
But that $1,900 a month is for a 1-bedroom apartment, bro.
That's true.
That's the
2-bedroom.
2-bedroom in a crappy place. But that's the thing that blows my mind.
No, that's right. It's tough.
Because like I said, 6-7 years ago, the whole thing that we started down this road was $1,200 a month for the food stamps. That was your house budget. Yeah. You could get a nice home, rent a nice home in Gilbert, in town, for $1,200, $1,500. That was possible. Totally doable. Shoot, dude, at that time, I was living in a brand new constructed home. My payment was $820 a month.
That's crazy.
Brand new. And that's at 5%.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, maybe not that long ago, actually. Now, 5-6 years ago, what are we talking? In my brain, 5-6 years ago, 2010.
No,
but even still, that was 2019, 2018.
Yeah.
You know, the interest rates were still in the 4s. Like, that was still possible. Maybe not the first house price was going to be that price. But the point I'm trying to make is the amount of money out there that you have to make just to be able to flatline, not save, just flatline, just to be able to make your monthly payments on what you have to live, housing, utilities, and food. Dude, you've got to be bringing in $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
To be able to afford just those things.
Mean, and if you're not, you better have a feetfinder.com account or an OnlyFans. You know what I mean? And that's the reality. That's what we're pushing these mothers, right, to go into is they have to stay at home with their kids. So like, okay, well, I can showcase attributes that I have, my feet, whatever, right? That's the nicest way I can put it.
Yeah, that is the nicest way to put
it. That's what we're driving them to do because they feel like they have no other way. And then what happens is sick men pay them ridiculous amounts of money to see their feet in spaghetti, something stupid, or in pudding. I know, but that's what men are paying for. Dude, did you see? So there was a thing.
Let me answer you right now. The answer is no. I did not see it. But go on.
You got it, dude. So there were 2 girls in bikinis. Okay, they took a bath with milk and cereal. Okay, just listen. So they do this, right? Now, mind you, they are not nude. They are in bikinis. Okay. They then scoop up the milk and cereals and put it in mason jars and sell it.
Oh, my God.
Stop. How much do you think they made in 24 hours?
I don't even want to guess.
$100,000.
No.
$100,000 in 24 hours.
Oh my!
Just for the milk and cereal that they had poured on themselves.
What is going on in this world?
But that's what we're making because of the world is the way it is right now. With all this stuff, people are trying anything they can to make $1, and unfortunately, men are terrible people.
Dude,
and
oh my!
Will pay. We will pay for this crap. I'm like, what? And dude, okay, mind you, they didn't have it wasn't like they had thousands of jars. Okay. They made $100,000 in 24 hours, bro. They basically put it on eBay and went to the highest bidder, bro, and made $100,000.
Oh my gosh, that is down another road of how terrible this world is. But you're right about the fact that people just got to make a buck. Who's got the buck to pay up?
I don't know. I don't know.
Think about getting that mason jar, opening it.
No.
Imagine how.
I ain't opening it.
Yeah, dude. Oh,
so gross.
Oh, I just want to vomit just the thought.
But that's the truth. It's just sad. And then what happens is you got these kids, right, that are sucked into social media so much that they think this is the way to make $1.
Yeah.
And they start young. And it's unfortunate. And that's why I'm a big believer not that my kids have social media. Allie is 17 almost. She just got social media last year. And even then it was really hard.
Yeah, dude.
Really hard. But
they're going to be exposed
But at that point, I'm like, okay, the bus ride to school is probably pretty bad. At this point, if she's not watching it on her phone, she's watching it on others. She's an adult now, essentially. She's more mature than I am.
Well, yeah,
so,
literally 2 years away from being a legal
adult.
adult.
So there's nothing I can do. But until that point, we actually just got a conversation with the kids the other day is I don't let my kids go to bed with their phone. Their phones stay on the counter in the kitchen.
That's a smart move.
It's been that way the whole time. Well, I walk past Allie's room and I see her phone on her bed. And she's out. I was like, okay, I'm not going to jump down her throat. I'm going to wait. We're going to find it. And she used it as an alarm and whatever. And she knows better. And she even knew. She was like, I know it's my fault, whatever. And then Lexi, she's always wanting to push the envelope. Can I ask you why, Dad? Can you just tell me why? So I had to explain to her, look, I get complimented, which this is not a tote to me. It's really my wife. But I get complimented on how well my daughters for their age communicate with other people. I got a compliment at the dentist office from the dentist. Did I tell you that story?
No, but this is things that I've raised my hands to this because, again, my wife and I, we love having your girls over because they can talk to us.
Dude.
And they've been that way since we met them when they were, they're children now, but when they were young kids.
Yeah. Dude, I got up, I went to go reschedule her a brace appointment, Alexi, and the doctor made a point to follow me over and ask me what I do, why. Can I ask you, your two girls, and he remembered Allie, and he's like, your two girls are so much different than most people we run into because they have a conversation, they talk, they're polite. What have you, I don't know what you're doing. And I said, I don't know. The only thing I do that I think that was different is they don't have their phones and social media where they're wrapped into it. At least they didn't through those developmental years of going through it. And I don't care if you're a parent that gives your kid your iPhone, that's your thing. I don't care. I'm just telling you what I did. And it's just cool to see that kind of come around full circle where you see these compliments come in as a parent. You're like, yes, my kids are turds to me sometimes, which is fine. I'm their parent. But when you get compliments like that from a dentist, he literally made it a point to walk with me to get it scheduled to say, dude, I don't know what you're doing, but you're doing something right because your daughters are different. And that's good.
Going back to, again, your daughters are just barely outside of Generation Alpha.
Yeah.
Right. Well, actually, Lexi
07, 08. She's 07 and 08.
Okay. So just barely outside of that. But that's close enough to say that this is probably the same age range.
Cuspers, right?
Yeah, cuspers. Yep. Right. Mm-hmm. But where it's the difference there is, again, screens, as cool as they are so detrimental in so many ways when we just glue ourselves to the screen. And I'm not pretending like I am not guilty of this.
Oh, yeah.
I said this a couple of weeks ago where I have to physically force myself to put my phone in my pocket and just stare at nothing if I have to stare at nothing, just so that I'm not constantly glued to my phone. And it's also because I don't want my kids to see me constantly glued to my phones. I still remember one time my son asked me, Dad, why are you always watching stupid stuff on the internet? I'm like, ooh.
And he's 7.
He's 7. And he totally called me out. I'm like, okay, that's an eye-opener. Let's put this away. I don't need to be on my phone, especially in their presence. If Dad's around and the kids are around, I can watch what they're watching on TV as long as I can stand it. Then once Harvey Danger comes on, I'm like, no, shut it off. We're watching Indiana Jones, which is literally what I did today. That's why I'm saying that is literally what I did today during dinner. I was like, nope, we're not watching this. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. We're watching that. That's fine.
Oh, your kids are one up on me because I still have yet to watch that movie. So
well, they still haven't finished it either, so But anyway, yeah. But again, going all the way back to what we're talking about, Generation Alpha. I think so much of it has to do is because again, we millennials, we think that everything is so hard. And I'm saying this as a perspective. We just did talk about inflation. I'm not going to take that as real. The ability to provide for your family, no, that's a real challenge. And it probably has been a challenge since the beginning of time. But it does feel like right now is one of those moments where we read about, like, right now I think about what was it like in 1978, 1979, 80, 81, when Jimmy Carter was the president and we had record inflation then. Yeah. Everybody was talking about how expensive everything was. It was so hard. I'm like, it's got to be like that right now. Well,
and you figure there was this, what's funny is I've talked to people who, they bought houses in like 89, 90. And they'll tell you, and depending on what their mindset is, right, they'll say, well, it wasn't that, this isn't the first time this has happened. Interest rates used to be 7%. It wasn't a big deal. And I'm like, that's fine. But houses were $55,000.
Yes, big difference.
That's the difference on your interest rate. You want the interest rate to be at 7%? Cool. But the housing market can't be at $500,000 as an average.
Right.
Your median home price is $500,000 right now. No, that can't happen.
Exactly. And I remember my dad was telling me about the story. Back in the 80s, he was selling and building houses. And they took a full-page ad out in the back of the Arizona Republic, which is, again, the major paper. And I think I may have told the story before. But he took a full page out in the back of the paper to say that they were able to get you a house at 16%. That was their advertisement.
That's insane.
Yes. But, again, we're talking about $40,000 for the house.
You're like, all right, cool. Like, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $40,000 on an acre.
Yeah.
No,
this was in Tempe. This was in. But at that time, Tempe was kind of edge. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make, I remember him telling me all the hoops they had to go through to be able to get to that point. But that was a hard time economically.
Yeah.
And that was a hard time then. And when I think about it now, I'm like, this is one of those things we're going to read about. My kids are going to read about in history books about how hard things were now. The things that we've lived through. And I know that I'm living through it. And I'm watching. I'm just like, dude, my kids asked just to go and get Taco Bell the other day. And I'm like, I'm not spending $25 on tacos.
That's what's crazy. You remember when you get like a double decker for
99 cents, dude?
Yeah. Burritos were 69 cents because literally all you're getting is beans, cheese, and sauce on a tortilla.
There's nothing to it.
No. And you're selling it now for $2.
Yes. It's like, dude, like one of those tacos, one of those Doritos tacos, that's like $2.69 or something like that. And all it is Dorito dust on the same taco shell. But like, dude, so you remember dollar menus existed? Remember that was a thing? Yeah. There was a dollar menu.
They were actual dollar stuff on there too.
Everything.
Not the, hey, it's a dollar menu because it's $3.
Yes, exactly. But that doesn't exist now.
No, you're right.
You can't get anything for
I don't think you can get cinnamon twists at Taco Bell for $1 anymore. Dude.
I just went through the
fried air.
They just opened up a Cane's here.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm not a big fan.
I don't like it either.
It's salty,
I will take
isn't
Chick-fil-A all day long over Cane's. I don't know what it is. Their French fries are cool. I love their bread. I'm not going to lie. That little piece of bread you get.
See, I actually just threw it away. I didn't even want it.
Dude, a little a little hack here is take that set bread, put the chicken in it and some French fries, and then pour that sauce on it.
Oh, bro, you know what?
Make a little sandwich on it.
I should have done that.
That works, right? But the problem is for me, it's the sauce. The sauce to me, I've thrown sauce up like that before, and nope.
Okay, and that is exactly what I was going to go to. You know how much they charge you for like a 1 ounce cup of that sauce?
No.
39 cents.
Oh, bro. Speaking of this, okay, not to one up you here, but so 2 things. One, you're a pizza guy, right?
I am a very big pizza guy.
Okay.
Freaking love pizza.
Do you watch that? Do you like Barstool guy? I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah.
Always
I know
rates
exactly
pizza.
What you're talking about. He's always doing the pizza reviews.
Yes. So he has an app. It's called One Bite.
Oh, okay.
Okay, phenomenal app. Cool. Everywhere you're around you, it tells you where all the pizza's at, right? And what happens is people rate them. But if he's been there, his face will be on it, and he's rated it. In Phoenix, 5th Avenue, Van Buren, he has been to this place. It's called Via Della Pizza Slice Shop.
Okay.
Probably some of the best New York-style pizza I've ever had.
I will try this.
It was amazing. They have this hot honey pepperoni one. Oh, buddy. Out of control. Okay, out of control. Now, that's the one thing. What brings me back to this thing, I asked for a side of ranch, bro. No. Ranch, okay? Listen. 1 ounce of ranch, okay? I get upset. I get like, Venetia's, they have their ranch. It's like 89 cents for, I don't know, I'll call it 2 ounces, roughly, right? $1.25 for like maybe an ounce at the most. I was like, for how big she brings it out, I was like, you got to be kidding me, right? $1.25 for that? I said it better taste like gold. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I feel like I'm serious. If this is Kraft Ranch, I'm throwing it in. I'm throwing it back.
Yes. You better have the cow out back that you're milking.
And it was homemade ranch. You could tell, right? Anybody who knows ranch knows one from the other, which is such a fat kid thing. But
it's true.
It's true. Homemade ranch tastes better, and you can tell right away. Yes. Like I know Kraft Ranch out of the bottle anytime I have it.
Okay, and this is one of those things where I will totally back you up because I grew up my whole life having homemade ranch. I never had ranch. Yes, Hidden Valley or Kraft.
Valley.
I'd never had it before. I remember the very first time I had it, I'm like, this isn't ranch. What is this?
Yep.
And it was
different.
It totally ruined me for salads outside of my home for years because nobody had good ranch. And it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to have a salad when I leave my house. But yeah, you're right. Because homemade ranch is different.
And so when I tasted it was homemade, there was a small part of me that was like, well, at least it's homemade. Because if it was out of a bottle, I might have gone back up to the window and said, get it back. But I was like, okay, so the pizza's phenomenal though. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, and he rates it, right? Anything up for that guy. What is his name? Dave? Portnoy.
Yeah.
Dude,
okay, that's one of the things that drives me nuts. When you first said it, had no idea. And then just, there it is.
Boom.
Pops up.
He doesn't rate much over a 7, right? He's really tough. This place is a 7.9 by him.
Okay, so
I'm
legit.
just saying. Dude, it's right. Literally, just go down Grand, make a right on 5th Avenue, and it is right there. Or a left. Just go south on 5th Avenue. Dude.
We'll try it out, man. I'm rarely in downtown Phoenix. That's something like the only time I go there is for a Diamondbacks game, which season starts up this week, baby.
There we go. It's right down the road. It's not far. You can just leave a little early.
I'll have to try it out, man.
On 7th Ave instead, dude, and just
I'll
go
absolutely
down.
have to try it because
I'm telling you.
That's the only time I've ever been down there.
I went there with a group of guys, and we were like, oh, let's try it. But dude,
are they by the slice, or you have to buy a pie?
They're expensive by the pies. $30 is their average price for
but that's
for one
what a
pie.
pizza costs now.
It's true.
Isn't that stupid?
2 slices and a drink, which they don't have fountain drinks, and the ranch cost me $15.
I'm popping up and down on my chair right now because that's another thing when I'm talking about when it comes to inflation. Dude, once upon a time, dude, you can't even get, there's no $5 pizzas at Little Caesars anymore.
What?
No, they're $7.
Really?
Yes, for that crap. That crap.
Cardboard. It's for that cardboard.
I refuse to eat it. I will not eat it, but I had to go. I don't remember what it was. My wife asked me to pick up Little Caesars for, maybe we had a bunch of kids at the house. I don't remember, but I remember being like, okay, all right, I'll go get it. Normally, I'm 100% hard pass. And I remember walking in and being like, I spent $24 to get 3 crap pizzas.
Cardboard tasting pizzas.
Yeah. Dude, and it's just like, once upon a time, a good pizza, and this was not that long ago, a good pizza was $10.
Yeah.
That is no longer the case.
No more.
Dude, you can't even get Domino. You can get a Domino's medium for like $8. And that's not top line pizza.
No, not even close.
Hungry Howie's, which is trash, same thing. The fact, again, these are little things just to point you to tell me that. Don't tell me inflation isn't real.
Yeah, you can't. Especially for the average middle America, right? We're all feeling that $8 cardboard pizza that was $5. Not that long ago, a decade ago, it was $5.
Dude, and not only that, but it was that way for 20 years.
Yeah,
I remember in high school, we would go down to the nearest Little Caesars and we would get 10 pizzas for $50. Right?
Dude, yes. That just sounds like heaven.
Yes. And it was one of those things where you could do it because it was all $5. And that was in the early 2000s, all the way up until, I swear, 2020. And then suddenly everything changed.
Yeah.
And I mean,
there was definitely a time.
I sent you a reel maybe three hours ago about how would anybody go and get a Big Mac, $11 combo Big Mac when you can go to In-N-Out and get a double for $9. Okay, a double for $9. It's the meal.
The meal, yeah.
Even $9. Once upon a time, that was $7.
Yeah. No,
$6.
Yeah.
$5. You're telling me a Big Mac meal is over $10?
Yeah, and dude, no way would I choose that either.
Yes,
I would rather pay the $11 for In-N-Out and $9, because In-N-Out's phenomenal.
It is. Okay, I'm not a huge In-N-Out fan, but when it comes to fast food
burger,
it is
top
probably
notch.
number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if we had to get real serious about this and do like a fast food draft,
bro, let's do
I
that.
would fail because I'm horrible. I do not like fast food.
Well, I don't either. But you've eaten it enough in your life.
I've eaten enough to know where okay, this is a yes, this is a no, this is a hard pass, this is a maybe.
What about Whataburger?
Whataburger, I think to me is probably on that maybe.
So what's funny is I think I read something recently that Whataburger's actually kind of healthy. Like when you look at and I mean healthy relative, right?
Relative to other
fast
burgers.
Food,
yes.
Fast food burgers, but actually it was up higher than I thought.
Yeah.
What was one of the worst? Wendy's.
Yes.
Wendy's is really bad. And I was like, really? Good thing I don't eat there. I don't remember the last time I've eaten at a Wendy's or anywhere outside of an In-N-Out. If I want a burger, because animal style fries were all let me tell you. I can't help it, dude.
That sauce in the onions and sauce.
Oh yeah. Melted American cheese on top, dude.
American cheese is the biggest embarrassment in this country.
And
I
love everything about it. I love everything about it. We've had this conversation.
Oh
I love American cheese,
just had
bro.
This
it's
conversation
stupid.
again on the cruise ship because as I'm sitting there with a whole bunch of international people, I'm like, this isn't ours. We don't claim this. Somebody in Wisconsin threw the name on it because they wanted to be known as this is trash.
I'm not upset. Give me a Kraft single, buddy. All day long.
Dude,
you know, it's dude with bologna. Oh, let's go, bro.
So disgusting.
If you can't tell how I grew up, that just sums it up right there. Those who know.
Dude,
right?
I remember my neighbors, they would always get the Kraft singles. And I remember thinking they were like, oh man, why are they so much better than me? And then I remember having one and be like, nope. Dude, give me my cheddar. I will take cheddar all day long. I will claim that as an American cheese. Cheddar 100%. Give me some sharp cheddar. Oh,
I do. See, I love sharp cheddar. I get all that. But there's something.
I think American cheese is the only cheese that I've had that's a no for me.
You know what it is? I think it melts differently, and I don't know why.
Because it's plastic. That's why.
Okay, well, that does. Yes, Kraft cheese. But if you go to the deli and you get American cheese sliced, right? It melts differently, dude. And it may be because, again, it's plastic. I don't know. But it tastes different. Like when you put a bologna, like, do you go get some fresh bologna from the deli and you get some fresh American cheese?
You're making me vomit, dude.
Buddy. You know what it makes me want to do is make me fry an egg, bro. You have a fried egg and bologna cheese sandwich.
Guess what I had today, baby?
Fried eggs.
I had fried eggs over toast, dude.
Every day, all my life, bro.
Oh, my neighbor makes sourdough. She brought over a loaf yesterday, dude. And it was just like, I told her, I'm like, I'm so excited for my wife to have. Bro, I'm not sure there will be any by the time my wife gets back. I have eaten almost the entire thing.
Dude, that's why I try to stay away from it when my wife makes it, but dude,
it's so hard to.
She'll make 3 loaves at a time and I'm like, okay, I've got to pace myself.
Yes.
Go put the other 2 in the freezer. Just get them out of my sight because if they're here,
if it's on the counter, I'm slicing it up.
The worst is when I'll go to bed while she's making it and then I'll wake up and they have to let them cool overnight, right? So I come around the corner and there's 3 giant loaves of sourdough
freshly
bread
baked last
just
night.
Sitting right there, and I'm like, oh, my inner and outer fat kid are just like, bro,
dude, sourdough.
We do not leave unless we take some of that.
It's so good.
It can't help it, dude. I can't help, and I can eat it with just butter. Just put butter on it. I'm good.
Yes,
to go. I don't need anything
I'm telling you, dude. I threw it in the toaster, put some butter on it, and that's all I ate this morning. I mean, I did have the eggs, but I did 4 slices. I did way more. I got way more than I needed. And you better believe I was just eating just toast, just toasted butter.
Do you know that I grew up for the longest time? I think it's when I got married or when I hung out with a dude whose family was very, very frugal. They had 9 kids. Dad was the only one that worked, right?
Oh yeah.
Big LDS family. They were awesome.
On the
right. They were great,
but
and they took me in as like their 10th child, right? But anyway, cool. Bro, you know I had no idea there's an actual thing called butter. That it wasn't the same as the country crock.
Margarine.
That the country crock butter and all that stuff. Like I grew up out of a country crock bucket. Like you want butter? That's what you put on. Is that not butter? And I find out no, that ain't butter. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not butter.
See, same thing. But mine wasn't. It wasn't country crock. It was the one with that gold crown label. You know what I'm talking about?
I can't believe it's not butter.
No, it wasn't. I can't believe it's not butter. What was it called? Oh man, that's gonna kill me. It was like a gold box or a gold carton with like a red crown on it. I swear, dude, I'll remember it. I'll see it at Walmart.
It'll just come to you again.
I'll see it at Walmart. But I country crock now, baby. That's what I got in the fridge right
dude,
now.
I can't get she'd be like, I ain't buying that stuff because she's bougie when it comes to that stuff. Water and like that modern, dude, no way. And I'm like,
it's because she grew up in the mountains.
Dude, and her my brother-in-law's a plumber, right? So he's an RO, like clean guy.
Water's got to be crazy.
I'm like, bro, I grew up drinking out of a hose. Like, I will drink out of the hose right now without any shame.
I think we had this conversation. Did you grow up on a well?
Yeah.
See, same thing here.
I did. And so I don't think, but even then, when I was down here, I didn't. When I lived down here for the first 8-9 years, running through neighborhood to neighborhood.
We knew anything about nitrates and crap in the water.
Dude, if you're thirsty, that is a water source.
There's water that comes out of the ground.
It wasn't irrigated water, so it was clean. It was coming out of a hose, dude.
Right. But it's 100% the truth because that's the same thing for me. Like I remember being like, I would drink water and have anybody toast. I never thought about it. No. I mean, at home I did it. But again, I grew up on a well. The water, I thought it tasted pretty good.
Yeah.
But like at somebody else's house, I'm like, oh, gross, you're drinking that? I'm like, bro, this is water. It comes like turn on this thing and there's water.
H2O. Yeah, it's clear. Like it's clear. Like I don't know what's wrong
with it. Yeah. Now sometimes you get that cloudy, and then you're like,
that's Phoenix water. Put it back. Dump that down the drain.
That was probably a little too much.
Oh gosh.
All right, dude. But let's get some business out of the way. I mean, I had a great talk today, just talking about whatever it was that came on. And I knew that was what this was going to be because we didn't have much.
Yeah.
But we've talked a lot this past week about Aaron Donald. I just want to say good riddance. I think I said this last time, but honestly, I was so sick I don't remember anything that I talked about this last time.
Dude, he's a stud. I watched a bunch of interviews on him lately, and just I got respect for that dude, man. He's a baller. 10 years, 10 Pro Bowls. We talked about that.
Oh yeah,
it was I don't know, like good. I mean, yes, as an NFC guy like you and your
So
NFC
happy.
East, right, or whatever. No,
West.
the NFC West.
So glad he's gone.
You're so glad he's gone, and I don't blame you. But you know what? I was actually talking this morning about it on the way to a soccer game. Is trying to explain how good this guy was in a term that anybody else would understand that doesn't follow football, right? And it's hard. But what do you do? This guy played for 10 years. He was in 10 best of the best teams, and he won a Super Bowl.
He was in 2.
He went in 2-1-1. So guess what? Like, I would go out too.
Yeah.
That's the thing where J.J. Watt can't say, right? He never made it to a Super Bowl, never won a Super Bowl. But I'm like, dude, you played 10 years. You've made more money than you care about. And if you've been halfway smart with it, you should have enough to last you forever.
Yeah.
And your family forever. So, hey, you know what? I'm out.
And knowing that, I think you and I both watched some clips from that podcast he was with
DK
Metcalf on. And to hear him talk about it where he's like, I just didn't have it anymore. I just was done. Like, I didn't want to put my body through it. You know, I accomplished everything I said I wanted to go out and accomplish. And how could you say he didn't? I mean,
no,
we're talking about 3 defensive player of the years. He was, what was that stat you sent me where it's like a great defensive tackle has a pass rate win rate of 17% against one coverage. Yeah. His pass rate win rate on double coverage was 18%. That guy was better against double coverage, double team blocking than he was. It was.
That's what I was trying to explain this morning. That stat, I'm like, you got to figure if you're playing soccer, he was better 1 versus 2 than a regular person was 1 versus 1.
Yeah,
like you got to think that is insane stat, dude. Crazy.
And if you ever just watched the guy, like if he didn't have to, he could go a game where he didn't get a single tackle, but if you watched the game, he had such an immense impact on that game because if you ran at him, you would have to run a triple team, a double team on the offensive line with an H-back, a tight end or somebody coming on from below. You had to triple team him to slow him down. But then that would reduce your blocking coverage somewhere else.
Yep.
And again, if it was a passing play, he doesn't have to sack the quarterback. The quarterback knows he has got less time to get rid of this ball because he will beat whatever double team you got at him. He will beat whatever one-on-one you got on him. He's going to. So it would affect every single play. And if you're only looking at a box score, which a lot of people when it comes to sports only look at box scores when they're comparing whether or not a player had a good game, they only look at the box score and they'll say, "Oh man, he had a great game." He was terrible. He didn't do a single thing. Dude, Aaron Donald, he could have a 0 in every single column, but that would not explain how dominant he was on that game.
Yeah, he's just an impact player.
And to that effect, I did want to mention this. If anybody's been watching DeAndre Ayton lately, he has been tearing it up.
Balling out.
Box score. Because guess what? Trailblazers still suck.
Oh, yeah.
Still suck. But, I mean, he has had, I want to say since the All-Star break, he's averaged nearly 30 points a game. And he's nearly averaged 15 rebounds a game. Which, if you're getting that, that's MVP. Right? I don't remember the last time a player averaged a season.
Double like that.
Well, yeah, a season of 30 and 15. I don't remember that ever happening. If that's ever happened in my lifetime, someone would have to point it out to me. I don't remember that ever happening. That's like Wilt Chamberlain level stuff. But the problem with DeAndre Ayton is, dude, before that, he was averaging like 12 and 8.
Yeah.
The whole season. And he was.
This is typical. Like I'm not even impressed because we've seen him be good.
I know, dude.
He's not consistent, and I know you want him to be so good.
That's the thing that hurts me about it because I'm looking at it from two perspectives. One, for some reason, I don't know. Maybe it's a small town West guy in me that I root for teams like the Trailblazers and the Phoenix Suns since we're not the LA Lakers.
Yeah.
Right. If you're not based in LA, Texas, or New York, chances are I'm going to root for you in some way. Yeah. Oh, and Chicago. Screw you, Chicago. But like, actually, outside of the Bears, I kind of root for the Bears a little bit. You know what I mean? That's like the doormat franchise where you're kind of like, doormat. Oh, I know there's that word again, but you kind of like, you know what? If
dumpster fire of a franchise.
Yes, I've got my go-to terms. But if you ever had, if they ever had any success, you'd be happy for the Chicago Bear fan, right?
Oh yeah, I'd be happy for my brother-in-law, who's and for Jeremy Pace, you know him.
Yes.
These guys are, and his little boy is he's just so Bears, and it makes me sick. But it's cool.
Yeah, but you'd be happy for him because they never have any success.
Yeah.
Right. We've talked about this. They're still riding high off of 1985 when, Jeremy Pace, was he born then? I mean,
probably.
It's been that long since they've had any kind of real success. So you'd be happy for them if they did. But that's, I guess, I'm looking at it from like the Trailblazers perspective. They've got Scoot Henderson, who got off to a terrible start he was one of those guys that everybody was talking about was going to be the next great point guard. Terrible start to his career, but he's a rookie. You give him a pass. You hopefully DeAndre Ayton's going to turn into this guy. But dude, we've watched him now for 6 years, and you just know that it's like he's going to have those moments of brilliance. Like I said, he's gone on a stretch now outside of health where he's just been unstoppable, but hasn't led to any success for the team. And the team sucks. And you know that if you watched that game, you would see it. His box score never explains his lack of impact on a game. And it's so hard because you look at it. I mean, you're like, dude, you guy just had 32 points and 21 rebounds. Who kind of does that? And it's like, he does. And guess what? It had no impact on the game.
No, it doesn't. And that's his problem. He's not an impact player at all.
No.
He could be. He had potential.
He was, though. Do you remember that finals run?
I know, but that's the thing. He wasn't he's not consistently the guy you want with the ball, right? He's not. And that's what sucks.
But the thing that's not even the guy with the ball, because in that finals run, he rarely was a guy scoring, but he was so impactful on every single play. Defensively, he was impactful. I mean, shoot, the Valley Oop is one of the greatest plays in postseason history, right? So, I mean, that was him. It was also Jay Crowder. Love you, Jay Crowder. So sad the way you had to leave here, but man, I freaking love him.
He was a dude that wouldn't score 1 point, but he was an impact player.
He was an impact player.
They just defensively he was a stud.
And then you'd have a game where you hit 5 3-pointers,
right? And you're like, what? Who is? We'll take that when he does hit. Cool, we're gonna win by more. That's all it is.
That was always my thing with Jay Crowder, dude. I will live and die with that guy. He's gonna be the most inconsistent player on the court offensively, but he's always going to be doing what needs to be done. Like he's always going to be in it. The salsa dance he did at the end of the Lakers series that got ejected, I'll always remember that. Freaking great. But it's stuff like that where we're talking about Aaron Donald and his massive impact, both on the stat sheet and when he didn't. And you look at DeAndre Ayton, it's like that's why whenever you listen to we'll say a national guy on ESPN, one of those debate shows, where they'll read these stats and talk about how this player totally sucks. It's like, dude, that guy didn't watch the game. Yeah. He didn't watch the game. And that's why it's so much more important to listen to the local people, your local sports analysts.
Your Ron Wolfleys.
Dude, I love Vince Marotta. Vince Marotta has been a guy that I've been listening to since in high school. Do you remember back in the day, 103.9 The Edge?
No, I didn't grow up down here.
Well, I know, but I thought maybe they would have made it up to the mountain.
No.
It never did?
Not even close.
Dude, him and this guy named Chuck Powell had the greatest morning show I'd ever listened to in my life. And it's so awesome. And since that moment, I've always been a Vince Marotta fan. So now he's Vince Marotta and Dan Bickley in the mornings now on 98.7.
Okay.
I'll always listen to that guy because of that time. But I was going to say, the point is your local sports guys, they know so much more than anybody on the national level.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And yet, the national level, we talked about Skip Bayless. Ugh. Who keeps paying this guy?
Too many people.
Dude.
He's still, he ranks LeBron as number 9 on his top 10.
Because he's the world's worst.
And I'm like, look, I'm not a LeBron fan, but he's not number 9.
No.
Let's be honest here.
Even you said,
I put him at 3.
I would argue all day long.
I know.
But I can also listen and say, at least you're not dumb enough to say he's outside of your top 5.
No, not at all.
Dumb.
I favor Jordan and Kobe over him just because of mindset.
Well, yeah. And
longevity, sure, he wins, right? Kobe played for a long time, but
not as long. Yeah.
Not as long, but longevity, sure, he wins. But it's just for me, it's a mindset thing. It's like, people don't fear LeBron like they feared Kobe, and they definitely don't fear LeBron like they feared Jordan. And you can talk to Dennis Rodman just did a whole thing about it because it's when you start talking this, your phone listens and you'll hear this goat feed all the way. But Dennis Rodman talks about it, and you talk to he talked to a few guys who've played with all three, and they were like, dude, Jordan all day long. Like nobody wanted to play.
No.
Nobody wanted to play against Jordan because he was a guy who could average. If Jordan played today against the normal average teams, he would average 50 points a game. If against the good teams, he would average 40. That's where his averages would be. That's how good they will tell you he was, that in this era, he would average 50 points a game versus LeBron's 27. I think he's a 27.
It's one of those. Yeah. The thing about LeBron is he's the most consistent player in the world. He's 27, 7, and 7.
Yep.
Which is funny. He's never actually ever ended a game with 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. I saw that statistic the other day, but that's his career average.
Yeah.
And it's every year, his career average is 27, 7, and 7. Around that number, 6'9" and 7'2", whatever. Right. It's in that range. But it's hard for me to argue that comment about Michael Jordan because, dude, he had many seasons in which he averaged over 30 when it was incredibly hard to be scoring like that.
And he was Defensive Player of the Year.
And he was Defensive Player of the Year.
And you could argue, okay, LeBron, Offensively, sure, but when you look at like the GOAT, he doesn't have the defense.
I will say this. I feel like LeBron has actually been gypped in his Defensive Player of the Year awards because there is no player I've ever watched that when he wanted to play defense, which was in the playoffs, he would shut down anything in his way.
Well, and he would chase you down on a chase down block, which we saw plenty of those when he was young.
Dude, yeah. I mean, we're talking about a guy now who's almost 40. Right. So, yeah, he's not that guy anymore.
No.
100% not that guy anymore. No. But in his prime, I'm telling you, dude, I feel like he never got the recognition for his defense that he should have because this guy was guarding any position 1 through 5 in his prime in the Heat. He was guarding 1 through 5, and he was shutting them down. Whoever he needed to shut down, he would shut him down. I mean, there's a reason why he won those 2 championships with the Heat, and it wasn't because he was lacking on defense. He was playing defense. It was
because of Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Like, that's why they were the big 3.
Yeah, the big 3. But think about the rest of that roster. Outside of Ray Allen, name one player. And you can't because that I can name
Mourning. No,
no, he wasn't there.
I know, I'm just kidding.
I can name players on that team because I'm weird like that.
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Do you remember the Birdman?
Oh yeah.
That
tattooed
guy,
all up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he played for Denver.
Yeah.
What was his name? What is his name?
Chris Anderson.
Yeah. So I remember him.
Yeah, but you would have never thought that guy was any good because it wasn't, especially at that point. He was just a big body. Yeah, dude, the whole team. Do you remember Joel Anthony?
No.
Okay, he was their center. He was their center, and he was one of the most unrememberable guys in the world. Good for him. He got 2 rings. He would wipe the floor with me right now.
Of course.
But it's like completely no. Do you remember Mario Chalmers?
Chalmers. I remember the name Chalmers. Where did he play at before?
He played at Kansas.
Yeah, I remember the name
Chalmers. He hit one of those like ridiculous game-winning shots in March Madness. That was his claim to fame. Yeah. But anyway, all I'm saying is the rest of that team was trash.
Right.
There was nobody else on that team that was any good. Ray Allen, way at the end of his career, still hit one of the greatest.
Baller,
yeah, but not only that, but hit one of the greatest shots.
For sure.
In finals history. That step back 3.
Yeah,
oh, dude,
out of control.
Freaking ridiculous. But anyway, I'm not trying to argue any of that. I still think if LeBron had played in whatever era he needed to play in, he would have been the player he is at that era, and he would have been a dominant player. And so much of it's just because physically he's unmatched.
Yeah, he's a specimen.
And so much of the reason why people hate him now is because of the era of basketball he plays in.
Yeah.
We reward flopping. We reward looking like a total.
How many videos have I sent you of him getting barely touched and falling over like a soccer player?
Yep. And the thing when I made that joke about like I love that people spend the time to do this and compare it to other guys that got absolutely hacked back in the day. It's like you could take him, replace him with any guy that you consider a star today. They're all doing the same thing.
Oh yeah.
And that's what drives me freaking nuts about it in basketball. It's like as much as I love the game, I hate that we reward being an absolute pussy. We reward it.
We do. No, absolutely. And it's nothing. And these guys are just smart for playing the game.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a turnover. It's a free shot to the line.
It's getting this guy into foul trouble.
Exactly. So it's strategic for sure.
And when you look back at the era that we grew up watching, the 90s, I'm not going to include the early 2000s because that was some of the ugliest basketball of all time.
Yeah.
Some of the most disgusting. Nobody wanted to watch it until the Suns took over and offense started to reign again. Dude, you remember those Pistons teams?
No.
Games ending like 68-71. Oh, it was so awful to watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is we watched it in the 90s when dudes were literally getting, tattooed onto the floor. But there was still offense. You would still have scorers. Michael Jordan was still putting up 30 a game. Oh, yeah. Charles Barkley was still putting up near 30. There were guys out there still scoring points. But that was also when you could be very physical on defense.
Yeah.
And you didn't get rewarded for flopping because nobody was going to flop.
Nobody flopped then.
Exactly. Yeah. You weren't going to. But then that shifted, and then it's only gotten worse.
We talked about foreign players.
Freaking soccer, man.
Yeah.
I put it all on the soccer players.
No joke.
It's funny how often our conversations will devolve into the GOAT debate. We don't plan this.
No, not at all.
We don't plan it.
No.
We both agree the GOAT is Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
The GOAT is Michael Jordan. We disagree on number 2. I don't think Kobe's that high.
Right. And I think you could fairly argue both points, but I think it's a matter of just the person. It's going to be different, right? Like, I don't think if you're a Kobe guy, then you're a Kobe guy. You're not going to convince me LeBron's better. I'm not going to convince you that Kobe's better, but we're both not going to say that we're wrong. In our
I will
mindset.
say you're wrong.
I'm not. There's no way. I don't know. Again, for me, it's mindset, dude. And I do think, yes, I would agree with you that if LeBron played in Jordan's era, because of his specimen
physical
size, right?
Yeah, physical stature and ability.
But I also wonder is how he holds up against a guy like Dennis Rodman, who's like, cool, you want to go bang for bang? I'm going to knock you on the floor, and I'm going to knock your teeth out too.
And that's a legitimate question because I do wonder. I'm like, if he would have grown up in an era in which flopping was not rewarded, because when he started his career, I mean, do you remember watching him his rookie season, the second season, the third season? He was dominant physically.
Yeah.
Now, that was also when he was 18, 19, and 20 years old.
His vertical was 45 inches.
Like, and he was 6'8", 250.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, like, there's that. But then there was also the part when he was with the Heat. Dude, he was also, like, downhill. Anyway, I keep telling myself I'm not going down this road, and I always do.
No, it's fine.
Dude, I am just like any fish. That is the lure that will get me every time. I will bite that hook every freaking time. Anyway, dude, this is funny how we went this long with absolutely no agenda.
No, not everyone. The only thing I want to talk about before we stop,
it's
on the list.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
Oh, go.
Are you gonna? I hope you're looking at the Beyonce country music.
Yeah,
thing. I can't, bro. Like, listen, stay in your lane, okay? Like, we're good. Like, I don't care. Like, she does her single ladies thing or whatever she's into, totally fine. But she's trying so hard to be country, and it makes me want to throw up. And I'm sorry. For those of you that like it, good for you. Like, that's great. But I'm like, listen, you're not Taylor Swift. Stop trying to go into different genres. Stay in your lane. Do your little pop, whatever the crap is that you do, and don't. Because dude, this ain't Texas Hold'em song. It makes you want to slit my throat, bro. Like, it's bad. Like, and anybody that sings along with it, your throat should be slit too. Like, it's bad. Respectfully. With all due respect. But dude, I heard it the other day, and I'm like, I can't. Like, I got to talk about it. It's like, because they're playing it like crazy, right? They're trying so hard to get you to like it, and I'm like, no, it's just not. Like, I don't. And here's the thing: other than Single Ladies by her and her Destiny's Child stuff, I don't know any songs by her because my kids don't listen to it. They loved. I have video of my kids at very young singing Single Ladies with, their speech impediment stuff, and like a little bit older than Rhea, and dancing around because that song, The Chipmunks, the movie came out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's in it. So that is fine. And I'm not saying she makes bad music. I'm just saying stay in your lane. Like
this is a hard topic for me because one of the things that this is funny because you're going to wonder why this makes any sense. It's like the tattoo topic for me. It is really hard for me to stick with one thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why I could never do a tattoo because I'd always want to be like, well, I should alter this. I should change that, blah, blah,
right.
blah. And I don't know if you know this, but back in the day, I was in a band. Yeah. Right? And I was always the one that wanted to do every genre.
Right.
Like, I wanted to do all of the music. Now, I'm not a big country music fan, but I'll tell you what, dude. I do love singing some country music.
Right. Everybody loves country music karaoke.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Exactly.
That's fine.
I do love that. But I was also like, I want to be able to do any genre. I don't want to be pigeonholed to one thing.
Yeah.
So, like, I get what you're saying because it does feel like somebody is, this is gonna, I don't know if I want to say this. It sounds a little like cultural appropriation. How dare I say that, right? I'm a little bit scared to say that. Someone's going to kill me.
It's okay.
But it's kind of what it feels like. I get what you're saying, but I'm also the person that's like, hey, dude, I want everybody to do it all.
No, and I get it. But it's like, it seems like it's being pushed so hard.
Now that I'm with you.
That's where it's like, look, if Beyonce came up with this song and it was like, oh, okay, for instance, right? I heard this song the other day from like an AGT performance, right? America's Got Talent performance, right? I actually downloaded it on the iMusic stuff, right? Like, this is a good song. I'd never even heard of it before. If it was something like that where Beyonce came in and actually had a good song, it'd be fine. But the fact that they're playing it over and over again, and it's like, listen, it's just not good. Like, maybe she'll have one. And I'm not saying she's not possible not to have one, but this one for me has missed the mark. And it feels so fake. Like, she's trying so hard to get her feet. Her and Jay-Z, right? Jay-Z's a brilliant producer. Absolutely. He's trying to get it. I get it. So from a business standpoint, I appreciate it. I'm just saying, from my perspective, it sucks.
Hey, man, it's like Michael Jordan said, Republicans buy Steve.
That's right,
That's what it is.
I know, and
Republicans
I'm like,
buy albums, too.
I'm like, just stop. Like,
actually, I don't know.
Stay in your lane.
Does anybody buy an album anymore?
I don't even think you can't buy albums anymore.
Yeah, I think it's just
you just pick the songs. You pick the favorite songs you want of the album. You don't really have albums anymore. Now, and they don't even really release albums. They release songs.
Yeah.
And they tease him on Instagram, bro. It's crazy.
But it is funny how you feel, because I know that I felt that way about lots of things in my life where I'm like, dude, am I the only one that thinks this is just being forced down my throat and I'm supposed to like it simply because of the name on it or because of the producer that released it, or promoting it? Like, I'm with you on that. Like, I get you on that one.
That's like, dude, Luke Combs, that Fast Car song.
And you'll have to tell us, dude, I don't have any idea who the freak Luke Combs is. I know he took that song from Tracy Chapman, but I had no idea who he was before that.
The thing about that song that bothers me, and you talk about overplayed, right? It is on every hour, 2 or 3 times an hour. It feels like it's.
I got to be honest with you.
It's ridiculous.
What you're pointing out right now is the number one reason why I never took to country music, because I felt like anytime there was a new song, every country music station here was playing them at the same time.
Yeah.
And you could never escape that song. And that's why I never took
that. Was Fast Car for a long time. It just didn't stop. And I mean, mind you, like, it's written by a girl from a girl's perspective, and you got a guy singing it, right? And it's not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying, from when you hear the perspective, when you know it, it's just guys don't think like girls. So when he's saying the stuff like a girl would say, for me, it doesn't make sense. Like, they could have done something completely different with it, right? I'm not saying it's bad, the guy thing. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense the way, because it's written by a girl.
The perspective is different.
The perspective is a girl, right? That's so. But then they shove it down your throat, dude. And I'm like, I used to like Luke Combs, but I'm like, dude, I have to go to his concert with kids I bought him for a birthday. I'm like, I don't even want to go. Like, I'm like,
because you're going to hear Fast Car,
yeah,
baby.
I'm going to hear that stupid song, and then I'm like, I just don't. I hope it's the last song he plays, so I can walk out and go to the bathroom or do something and just get to my car.
Or be the first one, so you can kind of walk in a little bit late.
Oh, yeah, or be the first one. Yeah, just let me know. I'm going to look at that set list for sure. You know, well, once I have like 2 songs before that one, I'm getting up and going to the bathroom and plugging my ears, dude.
Dude, yeah, it's one of those things. I get you, man. But it does feel like whenever something's new and really pressed at you, it is really hard, because I'm the exact same way. I push back on a lot of things. I mean, I joke all the time about TikTok and crap like that, mostly because I am a very late adopter to any new social phenomenon in any way.
Right.
If it's a TV show, it takes me a long time to jump on that train. I've got to have a lot of people I trust tell me it's really good, or it's got to be very specifically for me. Same thing when it comes to any kind of like new musical artist. Dude, I'm still not a freaking Taylor Swift fan.
No, well, so
eventually I will. Eventually,
you're gonna have to.
I'm gonna have to.
Actually, no, you won't, because look, my girls go with their mother. You and Benton won't have to go.
No, we're not gonna go.
Chalet can take them to all the concerts and do all. That's what my girls did. I'm like, hey, later, see you. Like, I don't need to go. I've worked them. I'm definitely not gonna attend them.
Do you remember? This is probably the best example I can give of Mumford & Sons when they were like really big back in like probably 2012, 13, 14. Okay. It was like that English folk band or something like that. Mm-hmm. If you heard a song, you'd know what it was.
For sure.
And I remember I posted on Facebook like, hey, how come none of my friends told me how good Mumford & Sons was? And a friend of mine said is because they were good 5 years ago. Yeah. Like, it's like, that's on me.
Yep, that's my bad.
But it's because I'm a late adopter. I took a long time to be like, I don't know, is this really any good? Is this really going to be any good? Okay, all right, fine.
That's how I feel about your band of brothers. I'm like,
dude, I'm telling you.
I know. I keep watching bits at a time.
You're almost 20 years late. That was released in 2001, baby. I'm telling you. Yes, it is so good, Jason.
Crazy. Have you seen the new show called Shogun?
Shogun, no.
It's like a 16th century Japanese thing. Yeah, I heard it's phenomenal.
I've heard the same. But you know what I'm doing? I'm
waiting till it's all done.
Yes, that's actually one of the things. I'm very guilty of that, and I know that me individually doesn't affect whether or not a show will get renewed, but I always feel like, am I going to cause this thing to fail? You know what I mean? Because I'm a late adopter.
I know.
And sometimes those shows get canceled, and I've watched the first season, and I get pissed about it, or I'm like,
that's what makes me angry.
You freaking hooked me in.
I know. That's what I'm afraid of Night Agent. Like, I'm afraid they're just not going to go the way they should. And maybe it is pretty. I liked the show, and I'm afraid, nope, they're not going to do it.
Do you know that they're going to do a second season or not? Okay, because for me, it's like, I felt like, okay, if they don't, I'm happy with the way it concluded. I'm happy with they kind of left it a little bit open, but you also got a good conclusion in the end. Maybe they're going to do another one where they follow him on his night agent stuff. Yeah. Maybe. If they don't, I'm happy with it. I feel like we got a conclusion to that story.
There's another show. It was on NBC for a while, and it was about basically like
was it a time travel show?
No, it was about trafficked like children and missing. It's like this whole thing, and it had to do in like the Wyoming, Montana area.
Okay,
and this whole thing. Gosh dang it, I can't remember. But they stopped it. They just stopped it like mid-season.
It was NBC?
Yeah.
It wasn't Big Sky?
That's it.
Okay, that's ABC.
Okay. It was a BC. So yeah, that show was phenomenal, and then it just quit or
See,
it
I
went
hate that
weird.
crap.
And I'm like, dude, like, come on, like Yellowstone's guilty of it right now. Have you watched Yellowstone?
No, and the reason why, okay,
Oh,
that's another great example of what I'm talking about. So I was one where I'd heard so many people tell me it was so great. I'm like, okay, I'm going to let it finish.
Right.
And then I watch it. And then I've heard so many people tell me that in the last like 2 seasons, like, dude, it's totally lost its way. And I'm like, good. I didn't get it wrapped in. I don't want to be.
I still say get wrapped in.
You ever seen Game of Thrones?
Huh? Yes. I
Prime
waited.
example of it.
Waited forever to watch it. I actually did it during a prep. That's what I did on the treadmill the whole time.
Okay.
Watched it.
What did you think of the way it ended? Because I'm telling you right now, the ending sucked.
The ending, it was a letdown for sure.
Oh, it
but
sucked
like it's
so
like where
bad.
could dude that show had everything. I mean, I just you can't if you've never seen Game of Thrones, it is
Don't.
No, absolutely watch it. It is worth wrapping your mind and just suck. Dude, Kara, right? So I talked Kara into it. She got so sucked in. She finished it before I did, and I started. I was 2 or 3 seasons ahead of her,
See,
dude.
what's crazy is that's not your style, dude. That is so fantasy.
I know, but dude, it was like I don't know. I was in a prep thing, so I was just trying to keep my mind distracted, right?
Well, you don't have to explain it to me, dude, because I read the books.
Oh,
And-
see, I didn't do that.
Okay, and here's one of the things that drove me.
That's probably why you don't like the ending and stuff.
No,
'cause you read the books.
No, the show goes beyond the books. The books aren't done yet.
Oh,
Yeah, that's actually one
that's
of the,
kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. It's actually a huge complaint I have because the author is going to die before he finishes the books. So that is where the show completely fell apart for me. Once it lost its source material, the ending, it just like needed to wrap up. It's like, dude, why are you just wrapping it up?
I don't know, dude.
Because,
I
dude,
didn't
the
think it was-
very ending? Oh!
like in the snow, the when they're around. What are they
No,
doing?
the way that they determine who's going to be the king and just... Okay, I'm not going to throw it off for anybody, but...
Yeah,
And...
the Jon Snow story though is just awesome the whole way through.
But it sucks in the end. That's what I'm saying. Like it just falls apart, and it's
Dude.
so disappointing to me. It was the least satisfying conclusion to what was an amazing
That
story.
show was insane. That show brought everything to light. Like it made you realize that like we live in this world because those ideas of the sibling relationships and stuff. That doesn't just come from fantasy. Those are things that they pull out of books that used to be socially acceptable.
One of the things about Game of Thrones that is truly amazing, and not many people recognize this because they don't read the books.
Right.
And I didn't read the books until the first episode. I mean, the first season or first couple seasons came out, and it became this cultural phenomenon. I'm like, okay, well, I got to read the books. And one of the things is a lot of the stories in the Game of Thrones are actually based on real events from the medieval times, real conflicts, real stories that he turns into. It's almost like historical fiction with fantasy.
Yeah.
That's essentially what it is.
But the baseline, the stuff that happens in it is probably, like I said, these aren't crazy ideas that somebody's just pulling out of nowhere. These things happen.
Yeah.
And that's what made that show so captivating. Is like we
So
live in this
captivating.
world where like, oh, you can't have a relationship with your sister. And of course we can't.
Or-
but back then,
Yeah.
well, that's what was normal.
We got to keep bloodlines pure.
We got to keep the bloodline pure, right? Oh,
Only
the red
knowing-
wedding, bro.
Having
Oh,
no idea that you are totally poisoning your bloodline.
right, yeah, having no clue.
You are
at all.
ruining
No,
it.
not even care.
Yeah.
you were.
And Red Wedding was based on an actual
Bro,
event that happened in the medieval
episode was just something else, bro. Like it's so weird. This show's been over for years,
Yes,
bro, and we're
but it's-
still able to talk about it like this. That's how good that show was.
And my thing is like, dude, again, I keep going back to like, I want this guy to finish the books so badly because the story in it, I don't know if you remember this, or it may be just something that you just totally forgot about. Do you remember how big the story was getting? How big the world was getting? I mean, the fact that they were on 2 separate continents.
Oh yeah, when they went to go get they went somewhere else where they started digging again or doing something, right?
Yeah. And then what just happened? Like suddenly, oh no, we're all just in Westeros. The other world doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Because
But see, you're
right
too
when-
much of a that bothers you, and I
It
can see
bothers
that.
me when you leave so many loose ends.
Right. See,
There's
because
so
you're
many
like, dude,
stories.
you're like my brother-in-law. Like, you're the guy that, like, we talked about this. You're the dude that can guess the ending before it happens, right?
Yeah, but I
But this is part of that's part of your curse, bro. Is you look
Yeah.
at all that stuff. I just shut it out. I'm like, cool, we're not going there anymore. Let's just keep
see, that's what
going.
kills me. It's like you just not doing it. Like you're not gonna wrap that up.
Nope.
You're
don't
not
need
gonna
to.
any
I
conclusion.
forgot about it when you did that. Like,
Because this is one of the things that another one of the reasons is where the book ends right now is it's building up to be the biggest battle of the entire thing so far, and it's not even in Westeros.
oh,
It's not even there, and the show doesn't even do anything about it. We're just gonna Move on. Stuff like that. Dude, another one of those tangents we went. How did we even get down here?
I don't know how we got on the Game of Thrones, dude.
How did we get down
so
this road?
Good. I don't even remember. We talked about Beyonce staying in your lane.
Staying in your lane, and somehow we ended up here. I don't know how that happened.
It's fine.
But
it's
for real, dude, you really got to watch Band of Brothers. I'm telling you, you really got to just sit down and say, all right, it's 10 episodes. Each episode's about an hour. I'm just going to do it.
All right. I'm going to get on the treadmill.
Dude, I'm telling you,
working.
it is so good.
I know.
And it's real.
I know, it's real.
That's the thing that gets you. It is real. This is a real story. Followed real people.
Dude, I just watched Blade 2 last night, bro. I have time. I couldn't say no, dude. Like,
dude, that's a good one.
I couldn't help it. I'm like
Snipes.
that. I'm like, oh, dude, that's vintage Wesley Snipes.
Yes,
dude. That's pre-prison. You know what I mean?
That's pre-tax evasion, baby.
I'm like, I'm gonna watch this, and I didn't finish it. I got up this morning and finished it.
That's
I
awesome.
can't help it, dude. Like,
that's awesome.
Now, rest assured, I did go over Con Air because that was on there, but I was like, no, I'll let that one go because I saw Blade 2. I was like, Ava, go in the front room and watch TV. I want to watch Blade. And
I want to watch this guy kill some vampires.
Yeah, and I need you to be able to sleep tonight. So,
oh, dude, man, Blade, what a fun one.
Yeah, I like it.
It's hard for me to say it's fun because of how freaking dark and disgusting it is, but at the same time, it's like, what a fun movie.
Yeah, it was
I'm going to
cool.
watch this guy just slice up some freaking vampires.
Daywalker, bro. Like, I want to be a daywalker, dude.
Dude, did you know that Marvel's actually doing a Blade movie?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's maybe they canceled it, but I know it was on the docket for the next Marvel film.
I don't want to see it. Wesley Snipes did phenomenal. I mean, he had 3 of them.
Yeah. But
they were all equally good, but equally terrible.
I think he's supposed to have a part in it. Now, he's obviously not Blade because he's like 60 now. But he's a part in it. And the guy that's supposed to play it was Mahershala Ali, I want to say. He had a True Detective episode. Well, anyway, you might know who the guy is.
I probably, maybe if I saw him, but still.
I'm probably not saying his name. I know it's not.
All I'm saying is Blade's not a bad movie.
No, it's not.
Just sitting on the couch. I'm sorry. It's an action movie.
It's also so much of its time. The techno music.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't take you back to the Matrix, like the original Matrix.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Everything about it is just very much that late 90s style.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It just... Anyway, it's
sharp
just edges.
Your childhood. It's your, like, when your brain was forming to be who you are. Like, that's part of, like, it's just in there. And you're like, dude, I want to watch this. I want to watch it.
The music.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just everything about it.
I can hear the way he catches the sunglasses, bro. Yes. Like, some random throw, and he's able to grab them perfect and put them on.
Put them on, no problem.
I wanted to be him at one point, I'm sure. Dude.
This has nothing to do with Blade, but dude, you know what I want to watch right now? I want to watch Demolition Man.
Oh,
I want to watch. We're talking about Wesley Snipes. I'm like, dude,
go.
I want to watch some Demolition Man right now.
Dude. That is a good one.
That's one of those
Have
movies.
You seen?
I can never shut that off if it's
wasn't
on.
That one. It was Judge Dredd.
Oh yeah, that's another one. That's a 1995.
Have you seen the new one called Dredd?
I've heard it's terrible.
I don't know. See, it is terrible, but I just like.
But it's a good terrible.
Yeah,
I love good terrible.
I will watch it. Like, I would actually search it and find it and watch it because I just think it's cool how they. It's very sci-fi-ish this time.
Yeah.
It's even more so than the first one, but.
But if you have Sly Stallone in a movie, you know it's going to be goofy to some point.
Right,
There's going to be some level of goofy.
No, this dude, they go a little bit different route with it, but I don't know. Like, if it's on TV, I'm going to watch it.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, one of my favorite genre of movie is bad good. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where it's like, this movie is so bad. It's good though. I freaking love those.
I can't help it, dude.
And we talked about it. Waterworld's that for me.
Yeah, see, we all have them.
Yeah, we all have them.
We
it's
all
a
have
terrible movie,
Every
but I
guy
freaking love
can
it.
sit and watch some terrible movie because they're just like, I can't help it.
Yeah. You said Con Air. We had at the very beginning.
Yeah.
There's a million of them, I swear, that I know that I'll just sit down and watch.
And Demolition Man,
Demolition's one of them.
Those are those movies, too. You're just like, all right, it's not great.
The other day we were talking about Predator, and Predator came on.
Bro, I just watched Predator.
That's what it was. No, we were on the cruise and we were talking about Predator. I'm like, dude, I literally just watched it last night.
Dude, I'm watching it at home today, this afternoon. I'm like flipping through and I'm like, Dylan, you son of a bitch. I'm like, okay, and then like they have an arm wrestling match
in the air,
the whole thing.
With these big
Shalee's home.
Hey, my wife is home.
Wow. Oh, look at this. This is so cute. I give you guys a play-by-play, but you don't want to know. You don't want to know. She's been in Vegas for the weekend, so kicking butt in volleyball, I hope.
Dude, she's been gone since Thursday, man.
Hey,
it's been more than the weekend.
That shirt, though, fire. Right, bro? Yeah.
What? You knew about this?
Because of course we would. Dude, I'm telling you. So there was... Oh, no, yeah. We were walking through, and Jen was like, should I get one? I'm like, yeah. And I said... She goes, should I get Chalet one? I'm like, let me see what size she is. Because we wanted to make sure. Let me just make sure. And you responded quickly, so good job. Because we were going to get you a small. And I'm like, right. So Shanna's like, I don't think it'll matter. I'm like, well, let's just let her decide. If we're still here, we'll get her what she wants. And sure enough, so. Yeah, if it wasn't a ladies' tee, I'd have bought one for me. For those of you guys want to know, this is an NSYNC t-shirt that they have at Sam's Club. And listen, say what you want, boy bands rule. So I cannot wait for them to come back because they are coming back, dude. And I'm going to be like a kid because you can't tell me you didn't know every boy band song.
No, we've talked about this.
You have
did not.
There's no way you went to an 8th grade dance and didn't sing. God must have spent a little more time on you. I didn't think, dude.
Dude, I actively, and did we have this conversation?
I don't know.
How, we did with the girls here. Yeah, I knew the one. Backstreet's Back. That's the one I knew.
Bro, but
and I got made fun of by Walker Shern for singing on the science campus.
That's right.
But outside of that, I actively was like, no, plug my ears, not listening.
Not me.
Not listening. I know it's going to be May. I know that one.
Dude, I want to go right now. I know all of them. I could sing them all to you right now, and I don't care. I have no shame. Maybe when I was a younger kid, I probably would have hid that, but I don't care anymore. Yes. See, I'm telling you. I could do what's that? What's this song called? There's a show called like, it used to be
Finish the Line. It's the one with remember we watched it with Taika Waititi and
Singing Bee with Reba McEntire's chick, Bobby Joe, Billy Joe.
Oh, I didn't know
BJ's in it. She's the head. She's not on anymore. Oh, but it's called The Singing Bee, and they do this whole thing, and you'd have to finish the line.
Wasn't the one that we were watching with Jimmy Fallon?
There was one.
It was a show that he hosted. What was it called?
The one on.
There's something else.
It was on Hulu. I mean, because we watched it where it was they would have different kind of like almost challenges where they had two. There would be two teams.
Yeah.
And one team would be in like these boxes where if you.
Are you sure it wasn't Jamie Foxx?
No, it was Jimmy Fallon was the host. It was for sure.
Well, he had like a segment on his night show.
Yeah, his night show had something.
No. This
Say
was
it,
a
don't spray
legitimate
it.
show. It was a legitimate show because I remember watching it where there was one where Taika Waititi and Rita Ora, they were a team and they went up against in the phone booth where if you didn't get the words, you'd get sprayed. But they also had the other one where it was what was Chance the Rapper where he did that
Where they have like a new genre, like they pick a song.
Yes, you pick a song, but you got to sing it in a new genre.
Oh yeah, but I feel like that started on Jimmy Fallon's TV show.
Yes.
Well, maybe, but it turned into a full show.
It did because there's one guy.
Honey, you need to get if we were going to have.
Yeah, you need to have a microphone.
You need to put this on her.
Let's just erase all this.
We're not going to erase this.
No, we can't erase
but
this.
we are going to have an episode where we do this.
It was country grammar. They sang a country grammar song. It was Nelly's country grammar, but in country.
But he did it in a country version.
Yes, so that went around. But I can't remember the name of the song. I can't remember the name of the show at all.
I don't remember either, but it was fun. Yeah. It was fun. We Shalay and I would sit down and watch it. It was really entertaining because I remember they had one with Josh Groban where he did something. They had a whole bunch of like musical people, but not like not strictly musical people. Because again, Taika Waititi, he was the director of the Thor movie Ragnarok, and Jojo Rabbit and a couple of other movies I freaking love. By the way, have you ever seen Jojo Rabbit?
No.
Oh, dude,
never even heard of it.
It's so now that is a great movie.
It's terrible movie or
no?
Great
it
movie?
is a great movie. Okay, synopsis. Okay, synopsis is this, and then we got to wrap this up, dude. We're going up on 2 hours. By the way,
shoot!
So,
it's been a party, Chalet.
Yeah,
missed out.
It's because
we've had a few potty breaks from Rhea. We had to take a few breaks.
She's still awake though.
No. Yeah, well, it's because we were supposed to be doing this a while ago, and she kept interrupting us. Anyway, the point I was trying to make. What was I going to say? Oh. Jojo Rabbit. Freaking amazing movie. For any of you guys that have not seen this, it's the story of a young boy who's growing up in Nazi Germany towards the end of the war. Okay? So Nazis, they're already losing the war, but this little boy has been propagandized his entire life. Oh. So he has no idea. He thinks that, the Nazis are the greatest thing in the world. He's this little Aryan kid. He thinks it's amazing. The little boy actor does such a great job. But the whole movie's told through the eyes of this 10-year-old little boy. So everything's a little bit goofy. Everything's a little bit funny. It's a little bit lighthearted, but some serious subject matter. And it is, dude, it's so good. You got to watch it. You've got to watch it. It's fantastic.
I actually sat through a thing. Have you ever seen, you're a history guy, right? You love history. There's a presentation called What You Do Matters. Have you ever heard of this?
I've never heard of it.
It's about the Holocaust.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to see if I can get you to come next time we do it at work.
Oh, okay.
And
Yes.
just sit in the back. Just sit in the back and watch. It's
I would love
3
to.
hours, and they fly out. They're a group that comes and talks about the Holocaust, and they dive into the Holocaust and the Nazis and what they did, and they talk about what you do matters as far as like in the realm of how you're perceived by public if you're in a law enforcement profession or a political profession or anything like
yes.
that. Anything where the public perceives you, right? And what manipulation happens during that time to make people believe the Nazis are good people.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes.
You would love it. I'm not a history buff, but and I liked it. You would love it.
See, that stuff is so important to me because we often will look back on the past and say, oh, I can't believe those people were so naive and stupid. Yeah. And we always judge them through knowing the outcome.
Yeah.
We know the outcome. So we look at it and say, how could you have been so stupid to fall for that? How could you Russians have been so dumb to fall for Joseph Stalin to think that this guy was actually your savior? Guess what? They still think that. And you want to know why? Because they don't know. The information isn't given to them. Right?
Right.
So we're able to look at through our 100%. Our color glasses. So it makes me wonder often what information I'm taking in and whether or not I'm actually really giving it a fair shake.
Right.
And I especially think that about the past.
Dude,
because people got so manipulated back then by the information given to them.
And because at the time, the beauty we have now is information's at our fingertips.
Yes.
Literally, right? Then
right or wrong.
They had to turn the TV on if they even had one, which in the 30s, I don't think they had TV.
No, TV was not widespread.
So it was radio, and whatever was on the radio or the newspaper is what you believed.
And that's all you had.
And that was all you'd hear for the day, the week, the week and a half, whatever, right? So you had to go with what they said. And I'm telling you, if I got to figure out if they've done it. I don't think they've done it yet at work, and they're going to do it again. And they do. I'm going to see if I can have you just come sit in the back.
Dude, I'd be there.
It'll be a 3-hour. It's a 3-hour thing. You just sit in the back and listen. But dude, it is so good.
Okay,
it's
I'm
so
in.
good.
I'm in. Well, guys, this was a very fun 2 hours for me.
Yeah, off the cuff too.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, exactly. We had one thing on there that we wanted to talk about.
One or two things we covered. We covered the elevator and we covered Beyonce.
Yeah,
enough said.
What's hilarious is that Beyonce led to a completely different conversation, and the elevator also led to the whole Generation Alpha.
Yeah,
we went off.
So back to that. Please teach your kids to wait for the king.
Okay, I want to wrap a bow on this one. Teach your kids.
Yes.
Okay. And don't get it in your brain that your life is a million times harder than anybody else's. We are all going through hard stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone is going through hard stuff. Like we said, your mountain could be my molehill.
Exactly.
And vice versa.
And don't judge somebody else's molehill.
Exactly. No, that's a super
That's the
important
big one
statement
right there. Don't judge somebody else's molehill.
Yeah. And don't judge their mountain either.
Yep. No. Yeah.
That's a fantastic
that is
statement
exactly
by you.
it. Do not do that.
But hey, you know what, everybody? This has been fantastic. I'm sorry for the I'm not sure how many of you actually cared that we went the full week without releasing something in the middle.
I feel like there's a bunch that did. So we're back, baby.
We're back. We're back, baby. 100%. All right, guys. We'll stay fresh, cheese bags.
All right. Like fat kids in dodgeball. We're out.
The JJ and Pug Show theme song was written, composed, and performed by Lane Hartman. Special thanks to Highland Communities for all the support given to our show. You can find the JJ and Pug Show podcast wherever you do listen to podcasts. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Remember to share the show with your friends and family and subscribe wherever you do listen. If you're able to, please feel free to support us by sending a donation to us by going to ko-fi.com/the JJ and Pug Show. That is ko-fi.com/the JJ and Pug Show. Again, thank you so much, everybody, for all the support, whether that is by simply listening, whether that is sharing it with a friend, or giving us that sweet, sweet cash. We truly appreciate it all. Thank you so much.